This is going to be spastic. Here we are. Good morning. You on WP Tonic and Timeline's joint show. We're all coming up, and this is the pre-show where we discuss what we're going to talk about. And we look at the week. Jonathan, you see that last email I just sent out? No. It was, let's see. I haven't even looked at, sent. So last email.
You fired it off about 5 minutes ago.
I sent to Zach. Zach came back. Zach Gordon came back to me. And I said, I'm going to shoot, Saturday morning to be live, hopefully. Hey, there's John. We should bring John in. Hey, John, you want to come in? John, you want to come in for the show? Come in. You're the special guest. Let me just look at something. John Overall is our special guest today. So yeah, you're welcome to come on, another WordPress guru. So I only put one in, but I thought I'd review some of the web pages that the people who I'm going to interview this next week. So one, It would get him coming this direction and watching. I can't tell you how many people, I've interviewed a lot of people who've never been on a blog. Their very first blog is the podcast. So I'm trying to tell people, come up at 9, check out your equipment, a few days ahead of time, maybe even watch the show live.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be predictable. Why don't we start off with plugins again?
Plugins A to Z.
We have got the master here.
Yeah, we a little bit of talk. Let me
And then John, why don't you join us, John?
3 parts, just like before. We'll come in right away. We'll go right into plugins A to Z. So we want to talk about plugins, the expertise. So today we're doing one of the first. It's a timelines. And Jonathan, on WP Tonic, I can edit the first part out and make an intro.
Yeah, sure.
WP Tonic.
No problem.
But on timelines, I put both. I think it helps the shows. I think it cross levels the shows and actually builds the numbers. What I've seen.
Yeah, no problem.
I look at numbers a lot, so I'm looking at numbers a ton, and what happens and who you can tell when someone promotes or when something. It's really interesting trying to figure out what makes podcast and netcast grow.
Well, obviously, John's going to join us later on. He's probably doing something. So, are you going to give it a formal start? And
yeah, I'm definitely doing a formal start. Hold a second. So, this is goodness. I have to look at my thing. So, WP Tonic. Let me see. Episode 192, WP Tonic, and we're heading back up to Victoria, Canada, and we're connecting Carson City and Reno. I'm thinking out loud. What I'm trying to do is more storytelling, where I'm saying where we're going to. You know what I would have liked to done one last thing before we get going here is, John, I would like to ask you more about Victoria and have people explain where they live and why they live there a little bit in the story, because I think it's interesting to find out what it's like living in different places, especially doing online business in a different place.
Yeah, I love talking about the island here.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I think if you kind of put it around the business, what's it like? What's the WordPress community and startup community in Victoria like? I personally think that's more relevant, Bill.
Let's start the show and then go into John. I'll ask that question and let
you ask the business questions. I asked the technical questions.
Let me ask that questions. Then we'll do a pause at 10 minutes. And we'll talk about the second 10 minutes because this is a little bit different format today. So here we go. I'm going to put a time slot in. Quiet. You know what? Wait a second. I want to hook up this. Come on, John. Get in the rock.
Get in the rockin' mood.
You got to rock.
Sure. We'll bounce it around. There you go.
Welcome to WP Tonic and the Timeline joint shows every Saturday morning live on Blab, and it will be a podcast later on in the day and show up somewhere, someplace on WP Tonic and Timelines. But this episode is 192 for Timelines, and I'm not sure if it's a backup or if it's a real thing for WP right now because we have this new format. But we're here Saturday morning. We're going to have the regular podcast show. Then we're going to go into after the show where we just talk about WordPress, answer your questions when you come live here on Blab at blab.im, and we'll make fun of a few WordPress sites. Other than that, it'll be a fun show. So I'm going to start off with the first question. We've got Jonathan here. He's going to go more into the tech questions, and we all, of course, have John Overhaul, our guest, and he was just on WP Tonic. I think it was 190, right, John?
Yes.
Yes, it was lots of fun. The roundtable was quite interesting.
It was 179, Bill.
No, it was something.
It was 79, wasn't it?
It's just talking. It was like 190 a couple of days ago. Anyway, here's the question I didn't ask on Timelines. I want to follow up. It's really nice. Is now You can go back. I hope to have the Tonic people on timelines first so we know about them. But one question I want to ask is, today we're traveling up to Victoria, Canada, British Columbia, actually. I guess that's the right way to say it. So
yeah,
we didn't
Victoria, British Columbia, Canada.
We didn't talk about the island or Victoria much, but what I'd like to say is, and Jonathan thought this was a great question, is what's it like doing the kind of work that you're in, living in Victoria, having the online business, running this kind of business?
Well, it's actually quite fantastic. I mean, Victoria, British Columbia is kind of like the Southern California of Canada, as far south and west as you can get in Canada. And we don't get the Canadian winters, which is beautiful. Don't have to shovel snow. But the community here, it's fantastic. The WordPress community was quite large for quite some time. We used to have the largest WordCamp in Canada for several years running. Unfortunately, the core team that put it together fell apart, and we haven't had a WordCamp for a couple of years. But we still have a very large WordPress meetup group here. I mean, currently we have 1,200 members in our meetup group. And I run a regular monthly meetup out of that group, and a couple other people run regular monthly and bi-monthly meetup groups. So we have 2 or 3 WordPress meetup groups happening in and around the Victoria area. And it's quite nice considering the size of our population. I mean, the entire population of the island is only somewhere in the neighborhood of 390,000 people. So it's not a lot of people, but it's a very active group. And it's very technically involved city. I mean, we do have a couple of big players here in town. Microsoft and Disney has a lab here in town somewhere that I've heard. So it's really a quite nice technical city. We got a couple of great technical tech spots in town that help for innovation and shared workspaces. So yeah, it's quite nice. We have fantastic cabling coming to the island, giving us great internet connections to the world. So
that's a good question. What is your speed up there?
My speed right now, what is it? Somewhere around the neighborhood of 50 gigs download, 5 megs upload. So
okay, about like the U.S. right now.
Yeah, it's very, very nice high speed.
Unless you're in Kansas with Google Fiber.
It'd be nice to be on fiber.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, 1,000 up, 1,000 down. Wow.
Yeah.
So very good, Jonathan. Why don't we go into the plugin portion?
Can I ask him about what's this kind of startup community up in Victoria? Is there incubators based there, and is it easy to do a startup? And then does the British Columbian government, do you know if they provide any kind of finance, or do you know anything about that, John?
We do have a few of those. I'm not directly involved with any, but I know we have Viatech, which is a very large campus, which is partially supported by the provincial government. And we also have the largest social media camp in Canada, which happens here. I think social media camp is happening in the spring. And so we do have a fairly decent startup community. Lots of people come through to support it, and lots of local people try to support startups if it's a viable business.
Right.
I can't think, there's been a couple of decent sized softwares that have been produced here, and I just can't get them in my head. They started here and moved off back east somewhere where there was more people.
So what would you say, there seems to be a lot of positive things about being in technology and living in Victoria, but is there any negatives, John?
The costs are a bit of a negative. I mean, my internet is quite pricey. It runs me about $125 a month.
It's expensive.
So, plus, if you want to consider taxes a cost, but the benefits we get from paying our taxes outweigh the costs. So it's hard to say. I mean, there's not a lot of negatives to it aside from the cost, but you learn how to mitigate your costs.
Yeah, I understand that. So let's get on to the plugins. So have you seen any kind of, we've exhausted it probably, you're probably recovering from WP Tonic, but have you come across any, over the past couple of weeks, any plugins that catched your eye?
Well, one that caught my eye, and we were going to try and talk about it in the WP Tonic show, was Simple Live Press. And it's one that I interviewed developer Hanny, and I've reviewed the plugin, though I'm holding back the actual review rating until the show goes live next week. I mean, it's one of those things, I just can't let the secret out of the bag yet. So, but anyway, it was a fantastic plugin, and I've been testing it.
Can you put the link to it into chat for us, John?
They've got the YouTube. I watched the YouTube. It was 22 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got to show up on YouTube. I'll have to go dig up the link here while I'm chatting, but
I'll do that.
Okay, and it turned out to be a fantastic plugin. So I've been testing it every time I appear on a blab and somebody makes me a co-host, or I've run my own blabs. I've been seeing how the show is automatically loaded into my website, and it allows me to go in there and edit it because I've got the plugin set that it doesn't auto-publish. It just puts it as a draft, so I can go add more data to it or information or a paragraph to a text, and then go through the comments, because one of the things Simple Live Press does is it goes all those comments down the right-hand column that everyone makes. It brings those over to the post as actual comments on your website. But it brings over everything, so you actually got to sort of weed through and get rid of the stuff that's truly not relevant, when people start randomly talking about stuff. And it looks like it's going to be very nice for taking Blab, which is what I'm starting to use more and more for the show and podcasting, and bringing content over that will go live before I actually turn the thing into a full-blown interview with the intros and the outros and the commercials, because unfortunately my time is constrained with what I'm doing, so I get limited amount of time to put into my show.
Yeah. Sounds great. Are there any kind of other plugins that you reviewed over the past 6 months that still stick in your mind that you thought were really fantastic finds? There must be a few that still kind of... I know you reviewed Tonic. I was hoping there'd be a few that kind of stuck in the mind.
Give me a second here. I'll bring them up. And
while he's doing that on Simple Live Press, I know you got to rate it. I can't wait to listen to that show, because I am testing that on... Blabcast, on you Blabcast.
And how's it going, Bill? How's it going?
It's doing fine. It really works well. It's not much on that site, it's just posting. But I was wondering if I could use it on this show, on timelines to post, and just post and then clean up the notes.
What do you like about it, and what don't you like about it, Bill?
The biggest thing I don't like about it is the time to load the blab. The blab image. And if you test it, the blab image takes a while to load. Everything else loads pretty fast, but the blab image. And then I just wondered what the effect of the post. The post should give us SEO juice. So I like it. I think I might start using it on timelines. But
have you noticed any kind of, because it does seem it's doing a lot of stuff, and have you seen any kind of speed consequences on the site that you're testing it on?
It's definitely slow. When you do the test, it'll show that the blab portion takes forever to load, up to 14 seconds on the backside. The blab, everything else loads, but the blab is not loading.
Yeah, that's quite that. Yeah, you need to test that a bit more, don't you? That's quite.
It does. Well, you can test it. You can see it when you do the test, but the other, So generally, under 2 to 2.5 seconds on all my sites I shoot for.
So how are we doing?
I got a couple here. One that I
thought you have some down your sleeve, John.
Yeah, well, I keep my show notes, and all I got to do is go pull it back up. The problem is I get information in my head. When I'm done with it, I flush it and move on. So I have to go back to notes to bring it back. It's a bad habit I've developed over the years. Push Crew was a really good plugin. Push Crew. I reviewed the developers on that. That review is up on my website at WP Plugins A to Z, or interview. I interviewed the developers.
What does it do?
Push Crew is a plugin that allows you set it up on your site, and what it does is it gives people the opportunity to opt in to desktop notifications from you. They can get desktop notifications from your website and their mobile device. Now, you don't push out the notifications from your computer, from your website. You push them out from their website. They're selling services of software, selling a SaaS service. And what it allows is when you get enough people opted in, you want to contact all the people who pay attention to your website and they're not logged in. You send out a notification and it'll pop up on their desktop or pop up on their cell phone.
Well, John, I think you just made Bill's dream come. It must be a wet dream for Billy
Oh, it's a great plugin.
Dream, this, mate. You must have made his day already.
Yeah, I'm just starting to experiment with the full usefulness of the plugin. The developers are a couple of great guys. It was developed over in India, and they've got a whole team putting it together. And they just emailed me the other day. They're doing some updates to it. Currently, right now, most of the opt-in only happens with Chrome when people are using Chrome browser to hit the website. But they're adding in the Firefox and Internet Explorer over the next couple of weeks, so that no matter what browser they come in, the major browsers, people can opt in. And what I'm experimenting with it is when I'm going to send out a show or go live, I'll be able to send out a push notification to all the people who...
Yeah, one thing about it, John, they've seemed to got the right balance between the free... they've been reasonably generous on the free...
Oh, you're looking that up. I was just about to talk about that. Right now, you can get up to 500 subscribers free.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
And then after that, you start paying for the service. So it seems to be a pretty decent balance for it, because depending on your website, it might take you a while to get to 500, but some people might jump to 500 in a day. So, but it's looking like to be a very good plugin. I mean, it's relatively new. It's only been out about 8 months now, give or take.
Well, but we are talking about WordPress years, aren't we? It's like cat years. It's like cat years, isn't it, John?
Oh, yeah. It's almost like cat years.
I can't find her Hanny interview, but I did watch it. And I can't find it. I could probably go back and look at history. But
it'll be listed up on my page on
it's not on John Overall's. Maybe that's where I found it on your website.
It would be on the website, and it's in a category called Blabs. I'm just starting to figure out that stuff there.
All right.
We got to review your website.
So let's put this link to this in the notes.
Here's another plugin that can be very useful for developers out there. Now, a lot of developers run into the problem of once you develop a site for a client, you got to go in and teach them how to use it, or go remind them how to use things. They're emailing you like, how did I make that post again? All the simple things. Okay, it happens. It eats into your time. Sometimes you're charging them, sometimes you're not. This is a plugin from WPMU Dev, and it's video tutorials, unbranded. Now, it's a premium plugin, but what it allows you to do is put these unbranded video tutorials that they keep up to date into your website, and your customer can go click on them, watch the videos, and relearn or remember how to do all the simple tasks in WordPress. It's a really fantastic plugin. This one here was one that actually earned a 5-dragon rating from me.
Oh, we got 5 dragons in it.
Yeah, because it rocked it, and it's been beautiful with several of my clients. One of the places I use it is in my fitness website community, where people are creating their own blogs based sort of like WordPress.com. But instead of having to email me for all the simple information, they can just go look at the videos and see if the video will help them out.
So how does, can you give us some background information about WPMU Dev? Because who's behind this? And if you sign up for 1 month, can you download all their plugins, or what's the setup?
If you wanted to just sign up for 1 month, you can download every one of their plugins that are available during that month. I actually did that 4 years ago when I had no money and I could only afford a month. I downloaded all the plugins. The problem is they update them, so you won't get the updates. But they'll work for a while, but if they update them, you'll lose track. So eventually you'll have to pay them their annual fee and be an annual membership. I mean, it's only $450 a year. It's not that expensive when you break it out per month. And if you do a lot of developing using WordPress,
they give you a big discount if you pay up front.
Well, here's a little secret that I learned from this is if you want to get it discounted, are we on time? Well, if you want to
that's just a sign to me. Let me.
That just means next few minutes.
All right. If you want to get a discount from WPMU, what you need to do is you need to sign up during December, because they always do a Christmas special.
Oh, they believe in Christmas, do they?
They believe in Christmas. So if you sign up in Christmas, you can get a significant discount, usually about 50%, sometimes more. It varies, and I've learned this from so many systems out there. If you almost all of my licenses come due in December.
All right. With that happy note, John, I think we're going to go to our first break.
Okay.
Okay, we're coming back off the break, and we're going to go back into a business question. John just had WP Plugins A to Z Kickstarter, and I'm looking at his video. And how did that go? How was that with your business? And what was the plan?
Well, the Kickstarter was something that came to me in early December, because what was happening was I was running into problems getting my podcast up on time. I'd get 2 or 3 episodes recorded with my co-host, and they would languish. They wouldn't get out. And the problem was it was interfering. The show was interfering with my business as a developer and a person who fixes websites, basically a WordPress developer. And so I thought, well, let's see if I have the clout I think I might have with my audience and my social media and everything else to raise the money I need to dedicate 6 months to the WP Plugin show. So I spent most of December putting together the Kickstarter, to a bit of a detriment of my client base. And I launched it at the end of December with high hopes, looking for $30,000, trying to get it. There's still 24 hours in it, and if some miracle happens, that would be great, but I doubt it. So what I did learn from it is that I got to 10% of my goal, which is close, which sort of showed me that our audience, while they listen and a lot of them say they want to support us, not everyone steps up to the plate to kick in $25, $50 to try and support you through. Because I'd figured it out between all of my social media friends and everyone else. If I'd got a 20% return on it, I would have easily gone, a 20% return at $50 per head, I would have easily gone over to $30,000. But it didn't happen. But one of the things that did occur through this was I learned a lot about social media promotions. I learned that if you start a Kickstarter, there are dozens and dozens of people who come out of the woodwork to promise to make your Kickstarter successful for you. I mean, it's like I got emails from all over the place. Like, really? I'm asking for money because I don't have money and you want me to spend money to get the money. It's like, no, this isn't how it works. I'm supposed to get people to contribute because they believe in what I believe. It didn't happen. What will happen, unfortunately, going forward with the WP Plugin show is it'll be relegated to 1 day a week in development time, recording, and everything else. Anything else will not be done. So the show may drop back to twice a month as a release. It's still a great show. I still love it. I'll still work on it and try to improve it. I may eventually find ways to get income from it, and if the income starts to rise.
Can I ask a question, John?
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about going down the Mixergy route where... Do you know Mixergy?
No. What's Mixergy?
It's run by a very well-known, made a lot of money in the startup community, with his brother. I forgot the gentleman's name. And he runs a site called Mixergy. I'll put the URL here. Basically, the passing, there's a certain boundary. Mm-hmm. And you can listen to the latest interviews, but the interviews in the past, you have to become a member, and you have to pay a monthly membership to hear the I think it's the previous month's shows. Anything more than 2 to 3 weeks in the past, you have to pay for them. So I don't know if you would consider that kind of setup.
I don't know. I know I'm going to be doing a lot of rethinking about the website. Like, I've learned a lot over time. I had high hopes. I mean, I outlined one of the things it forced me to do creating the Kickstarter was it forced me to create a plan for the WP plugins. Like the Kickstarter page gives a beautiful outline of what I wanted to do, something I had not actually sat down and done before. But with this outline and dedicating some time, instead of doing in 6 months, it might take me 1.5 years to accomplish. But eventually it's going to turn into something that pays me an income so that I don't have to spend the vast majority of my time fixing WordPress websites.
Yeah, on reflection, do you think you spent enough time on your mail lists and your social media and talking about the Kickstarter before you decided it? Do you think you did enough pre-prep, really?
No, I probably didn't do enough pre-prep for it. That is probably one thing it is. One of the things that's really interesting is, believe it or not, with as much as you guys have seen me in the last month, I'm actually a seriously introverted person.
You don't say, John. You
I
can't say that about me and Bill. I don't think that's the last thing people would link. Would it, Wizard? Would you?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, after I spend a lot of time talking to a lot of these things, I'll spend a day in downtime somewhere hiding to recharge my batteries because it takes a lot from me. But
yeah, I'm a little bit in the middle. It doesn't bother Bill when things go wrong. He just I actually go to cold sweat when we don't turn up on time, and I'm always bugging Bill, and he's rather calm and he just goes with the flow, and I'm jumping up and down like a yo-yo, and I Wizard.
Yeah, maybe it's because I've been rocketed so many times.
Yeah, things don't bother me. If things go wrong, I sort of flow with them. What I'm talking about is just pushing myself out there to people is the biggest thing. It's been hard for me. I mean, it started a couple of years ago when I took on improv classes and Toastmasters and other things to be able to push myself out there to the world. Yeah. I mean, I'm the person that in college I failed a course because I couldn't give a presentation in front of the class correctly.
Right. I love talking in front of people. I'm actually a part-time preacher, folks.
I'm learning how to love talking in front of people. I'm learning to enjoy it.
Yes, so. I impose myself on my poor victims for 45 minutes on Sundays, folks. Not all the time, though, but it's quite rather gruesome. Okay. So what are the main, so you must be thinking about this, are you going to have another go at the Kickstarter after a while?
I'm not going to have another go at Kickstarter. What I am going to do with it is I'm going to start going after developers for sponsorship or advertising money. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start going after my listenership to donate to the show. I'm going to add in the membership section I had talked about. That will be added into the site, and there will be components of either the show or training videos or other things that'll be placed into the membership section of the site. And that'll take time to accomplish. Each piece takes time. I am moving, like right now, WP Plugins A to Z is becoming part of a MU site that I'm building called WPSupport.ca. And it includes all of my WordPress websites. JohnOverall.com is being moved into it. The WP Medic is being moved into it. WPMalware.com is being moved into it. It's a whole community of websites that offer up different content. But instead of having to manage and maintain the 6 different websites I've been doing with individual WordPress installs, I'm putting it all into a WordPress MU. But that migration takes time. Migrating one standalone website into an MU site can take 2 or 3 days sometimes. So,
yeah. Well, what's on a slight tangent? What has been, because you've been talking about it for a while. What's been your general experiences with MI recently? Has it been better? Because I know you. Sorry.
With MU, you mean?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
MU. Sorry.
My experience is I started playing.
I'm sorry to interrupt, John. Can you tell the audience what that I just presume they know? Yeah,
you're right. You start talking acronyms and you assume everyone knows. WordPress MU stands for WordPress Multi-User Environment. If you know what WordPress.com is, you know what WordPress MU is, because WordPress.com is built on WordPress MU. Only, of course, they have crap loads of money to make it even better. But MU, every WordPress website has the capability of becoming a WordPress MU. All you do is add a piece of code into the config file, and it turns it into an MU site. With MU, it allows you to launch multiple websites or domains or subdomains under one WordPress install. I mean, my best example right now of one that's top quality that I built is this one here, and it's called thefitu.ca, and it's a community fitness website where people can go create their own blogs and talk about fitness. But MU, I started playing with it back in 2009 when it used to be a standalone product. And I had so much grief with it, I threw it aside. I even tried to build a couple client sites on it, and it just didn't work. I came back to it again in 2011, 2012, and it wasn't still quite right. It still had problems, issues. Probably 80% of the plugins wouldn't work in MU. I rediscovered it again back at the beginning of 2015 because a client came to me asking me about consolidating their websites and building a community. I said, well, let me check out MU again and see if it's improved. And so I loaded it up and started playing with it and went, holy smokes, it's actually working. And I'm finding now that about 80 to 90% of the plugins I install actually work in MU now. So, well, that was a big hooray. You know, it's like, holy smokes, everything I throw in here actually works. And MU gives you the ability to consolidate down sites that are related to each other into one WordPress install. And that way you don't have to do massive numbers of updates. You don't have to do massive security issues with multiple sites. You're only in one site. It's just one of those things that is so great. And so what happened was after I built my client out, I went, what about doing a community fitness site? Because I was actually working on a client that's for fitness, and I discovered the fitness is an untapped world. Okay, I'll give out a big secret. It's sort of an untapped market for WordPress websites. There's a lot of small-time fitness people, your coaches, your little fitness people in and around town. So at any rate, it's become a lot easier to use and deploy and manage and maintain. It's still got bugs. It's still not for the faint of heart, because when something goes wrong, it goes wrong big time.
Wait, with that, we're going to go to our break, and we'll come back, and John's going to give a quick commercial, which we always allow.
Oh, you're fading in and out.
Okay, we're coming back off the break, and before we're going to talk about another 5 to 7 minutes for iTunes, but stay online or go over to the YouTube version, and we're going to go in and really critique different websites like we do every Saturday, critique a few. And if you want to, and you're live, bring your website up. We have some other WordPress professionals across the country going to come on, so stay tuned. But John, before we go on, give the listener a way that they can find you, the easiest way. So you've got so many websites.
Yeah, I've got so many websites. The easiest and quickest way to find me is my main website when I rebranded myself a few years ago at johnoverall.com. That's the quickest and easiest way to find me. And that's where the vast majority of my clients come from. I do have WP Plugins, A2Z.com, which is my main podcast with my co-host Marcus. And we try to get the show out weekly. It may languish coming soon, but it will continue to come out. I have another site that has been languished, unfortunately, for a while, wpmedic.ca, which was one that I started a few years ago to help people in emergency situations on their website and to give tips and tricks on how to keep their WordPress up. Some of the information may be out of date there right now. There's a 24-hour window left right now in my Kickstarter program. It actually ends on January 31st, which is, one more day. But I said I don't expect it. Say I'm going to have some miracle and I get $20,000 come dropping through the window anytime quick. But it was a learning experience and well worth the time. But Yeah, johnoverall.com is the best place to reach me. And right now, one of the things I've done is I still have, this is not an actual website, but it's the best way to book me into something is wppro.ca/book John. And you can book time with me instantly for just about anything from interviews to emergency WordPress support to just, I've got my entire calendar availability dates and times in there for people to book time with me.
Hey, on a side note, that wppro.ca, the CA portion, that stands for Canada, I know.
That stands for Canada, and you have to be a Canadian to get it.
I was going to say, do you guys get any breaks on the cost?
No, are you kidding? The average .ca domain costs $15.
Okay, that's not overly bad because
not too bad.
Cost.
There you go, Bill. You could go and buy even more domain names.
You got to be Canadian.
The beauty of the .ca domain is when I want a .com and it's not available, 8 out of 10 times it's available as a .ca. It's .ca is not common, but Canadians love to shop in Canada first, and Canadians have the habit of when they enter a domain, they type in .ca first before they put .com. So that's one of the beauties of it is Canadians have been trained to type in .ca versus .com.
Right. So anyway, as you can hear, the wild animals are still out there, and my daughters are competing in New York as we talk. Because John, remember we were talking about the dogs are going crazy.
But you were left the dogs, were you, Bill? You were
wild animals out here behind me. So with that, I want to finish up the iTunes portion. Jonathan, do you have anything before we go to the YouTube? And that's my favorite part is when we go sort of like that random discussion.
Well, we have the grandmaster of the plugins. Can you throw in a third and last one that you really found sweet?
A further plugin, huh? Let's see what we got.
Finish on a highlight.
Well, he's talking about that. I know what he did say on my show on the regular timelines is interview 190, and that was the anti-spam bee.
Anti-spam bee is one of my favorites. It's the simplest anti-spam plugin you can install on a WordPress site. You install it.
So Kismet, you don't love a Kismet?
Oh, no. Kismet and I parted ways around 2010, I think it was, when there was the kerfluffle over how they changed their licensing. Mm-hmm. And because of the way they changed their licensing and the way they were tricking people into paying for it, because initially it was like they were tricking you into paying for it. They weren't upfront.
Right, they still do. I think they still do.
They still sort of do. They've cleaned it up a bit, but because of that, I parted ways with them. I didn't like the way they were doing it.
Yeah, I got kind of one final question area. I got to apologise, John, but you must realise I'm English, so I am a bit of a stirrer. I admire you for your kind of direct, honest courage and opinion. You tell it as you think it is, and you had that moment, and I was kind of semi-godsmacked on when you talked about Matt, when this whole business about when they got a certain person's company's domain name and they pointed it, and I was just absolutely gobsmacked when I heard about the story, and I was in a kind of shock when I heard about what you said about it on your podcast. I was kind of. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Oh, sure. That incident there caused me to lose mass amounts of respect for Matt. Okay. It was the way it was done. To me, it was vindictive, petty, and cruel in how it was done. And it wasn't so much that, okay, sure, he bought the domain to keep it out of thesis owner's hand. Okay. I might do that to better if I was really pissy at him or something, but it was the way he presented it, because it's in a WordCamp where Matt presented the fact that he had bought it, and the smirk on his face and the look on his face when he did it and the way he presented it showed, yeah, I did this because I'm a petty little man and I'm still pissed off about the fight I had with Thesis 5 years ago.
But he's rich. The rich.
But the problem is when you got that kind of money, you can do it. But that's what happened. And yeah, when I put that information out there, I was scared to put it out, really, because it was like I was putting out a contrary opinion to the vast chunk of the WordPress community. And it sort of set me apart. And I just went, okay, this is my viewpoint and opinion. And I've sort of followed that story.
So what was the kind of unofficial feedback that you received afterwards, John?
I received almost no unofficial feedback from it. Very few people said anything to me about it. Most of them were like, well, I admire you for being able to stick your neck out there on the line like that. Because reality is when you stick your neck out on the line against someone who has so much sway in a business, it can hinder your own advancement in the community. I mean, the owner of Thesis has managed to, I can't get his name in my head.
It's Steve, isn't it?
Yeah, and he has managed to advance his company against the odds. The same thing with WPMU Dev. They've had problems with WordPress and Automatic. They've had problems with Automatic through their development. In fact, one of the things that happened to them was as they were just getting up there, WordPress didn't used to be called MU. WordPress used to be called WordPress. I can't get it in my head now. Multi-site. It used to be called WordPress multi-site.
I still do call it that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But WPMU started up and became very popular, and they actually dominate the educational multi-site environment. But after they became dominant, Automatic entered into that and changed the name of WordPress multi-site to WordPress MU.
Oh.
And it started confusing things. And people didn't know they were going to MU thinking it was WordPress MU. And it started confusing things and it created issues. I don't have the entire story in my head, but yeah.
Hey, Jonathan, with that, let's tighten it up. Everyone stay on. Live audience, come up. We're going to have more fun on YouTube. You can watch this. It'll be found on WP Tonic eventually, and Timelines, of course, timelinesofsuccess.com, timelinesofsuccess.com. We got to finish with some music, though, okay? We got to dance a little bit.
The dancing boogie?
Come on, got to dance.
Yeah, I like that. There you go.
I feel seasick.
Hey, this is just really free reign. It'll be on recorded. Come on up. I even can go off for a little bit if we want to. We've got so many good WordPress people up here. Bring up some WordPress folks for discussion. Also, I wouldn't mind looking at a couple different sites. Here's the site I'd like to sort of review.
Right,
Look at this site. It's on there right now. WPMU.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Premium. Talk about that site. How we need to talk about too on this show is the business application of WordPress for everybody. How they get names. I think I'm guilty of not building my list as aggressively as I should. That is so important. The funnel. Remember, everyone's talking about the funnel.
Yeah.
How many WordPress people focus on the funnel?
Something I need to do, and something I gotten a little better of.
We're all guilty of not doing the funnel. The guys who seem to be really successful build that funnel and go out there and market. I'm not going to mention specific names of podcasters, but there's some podcasts that aren't that great, but they do okay because they have such strong funnels and create that funnel, work that funnel, and they market.
So where do you want to go with this, Bill? Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to talk about this website, this WP?
I put the website up, but let's see what kind of funnel. Let's look at it. When we look at the website, let's say, what are they doing for their funnel? What are they doing, the mechanics, the colors, and all that? So I just stuck one up there. WPMU. Everyone look at WPMU.
Okay. WPMU Dev.
I've got /. I got the premium.wpmu dev.
That's their actual main domain. If you type WPMU Dev, you end up on this page. So
it's a subdomain then, right?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Well, this is a WordPress MU site.
MU, okay. Oh, it's an MU site.
So they've actually subdomained everything out.
I like the colors on this. That's my first thing when I see it. It's a modern design, right, Jonathan?
Yep.
Whatever that means. It's well, obviously they're plugging this drag and drop site builder. building?
They have their theme. Their theme that they use for it is what's the name of their theming system? I forget. They built it on their own theming system.
That makes sense.
So,
and it does have a builder, and it's not too bad. It is a little bit to work with. I first built one site on their theme, and I ran into some difficulties, so I abandoned it. But other people are very successful with it.
And what is, because obviously is it its main competitive advantage is that it can run on MU, is it? Or...
Upfront. Their theming system's called Upfront. Well, one of the things is all of their plugins and all of their themes are specifically designed for MU, because that's their specialty. One of their main websites, the edu blog, it's edu or Edmundo. No.
You know, it's weird on the site too as we talk.
Edmundo. Sorry, Edmundo is their main education website.
Edmundo. Is that a?
Here, I'll throw the link up for you.
Well, you know, obviously you can tell it's been professionally done and their experience. I personally don't think the graphics and the basically marketing decision that they've made with this, if I knew nothing about the company, and this is more business rather than the design, I wouldn't say it's criticism, but it's just a thought. Obviously, I would imagine they get most of their income from the actual membership.
They do.
And they've made a decision to really plug one part of their overall plugin business.
Mm-hmm.
And if I landed on this site, I would not know, if I really knew nothing about them, that they do this library of plugins that are designed for MU. But maybe they've made a decision that a lot of their traffic, the people already know about them, and they don't get a lot of traffic from search. I don't know. What do you think, John?
Well, one of the things is while they don't emphasize that their stuff is for multi-site, every one of their plugins works beautiful on a standalone WordPress website.
So they might want to market on your podcast. That might be a person to go reach out to help sponsor your podcast.
Hello, Kim.
Hi, guys.
I'm going to be all the experience I've had with them over the last year when I need support. Their support has been beautiful. So they're really a good company for the most part.
Yeah. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Hey, one last thing, Jonathan, as it's pushing up, I noticed something strange. When you push up you lose your header, you lose your pages. But when you hit pricing, it's there.
I'm not totally following.
When you push your menu, when you push your menu up, I just shut it off. When you push the page up, the menu disappears.
When you start scrolling down.
I scroll up. When you push the page up, Apple teaches.
It does come back actually.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you scroll down, you get down one page. The menu, they've got a sticky menu that reappears.
It's funny. You say scroll down. I say push the page up.
To me, it's scroll down the page because I'm going down the page.
Apple says push the page up.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
No, they teach that. They teach that in Apple.
Good luck to them. That's all I've got to say.
Scroll down is what I've always heard for 20 years.
Push the page up like this.
That's the proper term. I don't care what Apple thinks.
I think so.
Scrolling down is the Mac as a PC way.
It's scroll. You're outgunned there, Bill. I think the other two would agree with me. It's scroll.
Scroll is the traditional PC way, but push the page up is how.
Yeah, well,
sometimes you're like a terrier. Sometimes you're like
a terrier with a bone, man. Got it.
You're like a little terrier, Bill. Well, what do you reckon with the site, Kim?
I wasn't so much looking at the site. I just jumped in. First of all, I loved getting to talk to John the other night when we did the Thursday night. I'm now listening to all your podcasts, and you'll be hearing from me. I love it.
Excellent. Thanks, Kim.
I actually just jumped in because I've been a WPMU Dev member for probably 4 years now. And I agree that I think their site doesn't always. I don't think they do a good job of niching to how much they do for multi-site, and they also are really linked into BuddyPress, which is huge because a lot of times if you're doing multi-site and BuddyPress, half the plugins do not work for you. And I don't think that they absolutely manage that, but they do a really good job of, like John said, all of their plugins work really well. You don't have to have multi-site. So I think they've kind of taken the stance of, I'm going to market to everyone because we work well in the beautiful WordPress community. And then if you also have that, we work with you. I think that they could have, I think they could use some niching, but I tell you, some of their plugins are really, really good. Some of their themes are really good. Like I said, I've been with them for about 4 years. They do now, you know, courseware lady here, they do now have a courseware plugin that I'm evaluating. Yeah. And I haven't finished evaluating it yet. I will say the one big pro of it is it comes with a really cool chat feature that I haven't seen anyone else have yet.
Yeah,
Kim, when you finish evaluating that, I would love to pull you into the WP plugins to give you a review on it and save me the trip.
I'd love to be there.
Because that's one that I would love to review, because one of the things I want to add is something like courses into the WP plugins show site. Yes. But I haven't had time to deal with it. But if you're evaluating it, I will be in touch with you when you're done. So
I am, and let's talk, because like I said, after Thursday night, I downloaded all your podcasts. I didn't even know about your podcast. I'm a podcast junkie, and I'm like, I'm on your Kickstarter campaign now.
As long as you don't go past episode 40, if you stop at episode 40 and don't listen to the first 40, it's fantastic.
Well, that's okay. It's all good now. So I'll be listening and contacting you.
I'm shocked, Kim. He's one of the grandfathers of WordPress.
I know he is. Bill. I mean, Jonathan, but you know what? I have to admit, most of my podcasts, as much as I love WordPress and I live in WordPress, most of my podcasts aren't WordPress specific. I'm just now kind of Jonathan, you were my first WordPress specific dude.
Whoa, I'm honored. The only thing I would say about, and it's more about their business choice, their business model. I personally am not a great fan of having to have a membership, a monthly membership. If I just want one of their plugins, I would prefer some choice.
I'll give you a little secret about their plugins also, Jonathan. Probably 80 to 90% of their plugins are 2 or 3 versions back or hiding in the repository at WordPress.
Right.
They're usually a version or 2 behind, but they do give them away free in the repository. They just don't give out the most current version in the repository.
Yeah, and
the other thing is that the other one caveat I would say there is, unless you're doing like a lot of sites as a developer, their basic plan for all of their plugins and themes, even though it's membership based, even though it's monthly, is frequently less than certain other plugins for a year.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
You know, so to me, I don't mind if I average out the pricing, right? Joe Smith over here is like $400 for the year, and it was just one plugin, or I have them for $29 a month. Well, it might still be a good monetary change.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of money.
We have another guest. What's your name, please?
My name's Hugh. Nice to meet you.
Oh,
hi, Hugh. Welcome to the show.
So have you got a question or a remark or something?
Oh, yeah. Like we're a digital marketing agency. We do more marketing and getting people ranked on Google. But I did have some questions about WordPress. There's some really good like e-commerce sites like Shopify and some of the platforms out there. And we always recommend like WooCommerce to anybody that's trying to do e-commerce. Is there any other plugins that you recommend as far as getting a shop up and running quickly? I mean, I know WordPress has, pretty easy to set things up, but I was just wondering if there's a certain e-commerce platform you guys like besides WooCommerce or.
Not anymore. I used to have a couple of them, but WooCommerce has finally surpassed them all with the ease of use and how stable it is.
Is it pretty easy to set it up inside of a website?
It is.
A plugin?
Easy is a relative term. I mean,
like everything on the internet takes 5 minutes, right? I mean, we have
it takes 5 minutes.
That should just take 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's easy to do, but it takes time to do it right. I mean, the last e-commerce I inserted into an established website, just the e-commerce component took 24 hours.
Can I quickly say something and then ask him? The reality of, in my experience, and I would ask Kim and John if they agree with this. Where this normally goes wrong is there isn't, especially when you're dealing with a kind of virgin to e-commerce. They really fundamentally. A lot of people are normally in a rush, and they want to get something up, and they don't plan what the functionality they really need. And e-commerce is really a fantastic product, but there are a lot of third-party plugins that you will probably have to buy, integrate, and you can still get a lot of plugin with the number of plugins. Depending on the kind of functionality the client wants, this list of additional third-party plugins can accelerate quite rapidly, and the price and getting them all to work together in a non-conflict. And also, another thing I would tip you on is that when you're going down that road, you need much better hosting than what the client really has or wants. If you're going to run all this kind of setup, you need better hosting. Did that make any sense at all?
Jonathan, that's pretty much exactly what I would have said. You are going to probably need better hosting than the $5 a month somebody host. But also, it's not even just third party. When I've integrated, and I built out a pretty good sized WooCommerce site about a year ago, when I still did client work, or 2 years ago when I still did client work, the basic WooCommerce free plugin was pretty easy to get installed and integrated. But then for every planning, like he was talking about, you got to plan every little thing they had. All of a sudden we have a premium extension, a premium extension, a premium extension. And they weren't even just third party. Some of them actually are Woo Themes extensions.
Yeah, that's what I've been.
But they cost more money. And like, for example, we had a major upgrade of Woo at one point. And don't get me wrong, I still love Woo. I use it. But it's something that as you grow really big, you have to be careful, because we had a big upgrade, WordPress upgrade, Woo upgrade at the same time. And boom, the whole site broke because one of those little extensions hadn't been updated right, and it broke the purchase. So we had to turn that extension off or roll back. We had two choices until Woo updated it. And it didn't take them long. But I will say that, from working with people in the past who did things like Shopify, where it really is a all-encompassing solution, you don't run into that as much. That's just been my experience. Having said that, I love Woo. And now that Automatics bought them, I don't think they're going anywhere.
No,
there's a good strength.
The other thing, don't get me wrong, of the fully hosted solutions, I think Shopify is still one of the most SEO and flexible of these fully hosted solutions. But the reality is, I have done a number of Shopify websites. I haven't done one for over a year and a half because I haven't been actively taking on work until recently. Is that you normally have to buy a lot of third-party plugins with Shopify. I don't know what your experience is, but it's one of its strengths also. It has a very large third-party library of additional plugins for Shopify. And normally to get the kind of functionality that the client really wants, unless it's a very basic e-commerce site, you normally have to buy extensions from Shopify. And then the other thing you've got to teach, I wouldn't recommend them, but a lot of these like Wix, not SiteGround, what's it called? My mind's gone. Squarespace. They have e-commerce solutions. I would not recommend them unless you're looking for a very, very basic e-commerce. And I think the thing that's not explained is you're going to have it's going to be very stressful when you want to migrate to a platform that gives you more flexibility. It is going to be a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, I agree. It does not move well at all. Yeah. You're kind of setting yourself in stone when you do that, and it's really not giving you what you want. I just want to say, I'm going to jump off. Thanks, guys. John, I'm going to be out to
Thanks, Kim.
I have to teach a class at 1:30. I'm going to let somebody else in.
We'll be in touch.
You say goodbye. Maybe my advice was too severe for him. He just popped off, didn't he? She's gone as well.
Okay.
John, are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm still here.
We've got two
John
Johns. It's going to be.
We'll have two Johns here.
I'm going to call John.
So I just wanted real briefly to address the e-commerce solution. There is that one of the things, like you said, people do not think about the planning stages of it. The last one I did, we probably. Can't hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I'm just agreeing with you. They don't plan
Yeah, they don't plan for it. And if they don't spend the time planning, like almost a third of the time for the last e-commerce site I launched was spent in planning what functionality they specifically wanted for their site. And then making sure we chased down plugins that would suit the purpose, but not just that, making sure that the plugins had established themselves so that once you got them installed, you were going to continue to get updates for that plugin when time came. And as Kim mentioned, when WooCommerce updates, when they do a major upgrade, it's like the scariest thing for me every time they just did a major upgrade, and I've got 3 sites I got to go update. But the thing is, I gotta make full backups, everything I need.
Well, you got to make. I don't know if you agree with this, John, but if you're involved with the project on an ongoing basis, you've got to make it really clear that there's going to be a substantial. There's got to be budget to pay you a much higher maintenance, because you're going to have to set up. You're going to have to set up a test site. You have to check all this out, especially if they're taking reasonable money off their everything. Will have to be done on a test site. Somebody's got to test all the plugins.
You always test it to make sure it's going to work. But that's the thing is, like, e-commerce, while it's simple, as I said, that's a relative term. Especially with the internet. Simple is relative. I get people, this would only take 5 minutes. It's sure, great. Let's start a timer and let's show you how long 5 minutes actually takes to do something online. It usually turns into 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Hey, we got a timer right there.
I actually time how long it takes me to do stuff. Hey, I was thinking John Locke. He's got to unplug your USB and turn off Chrome, plug your USB on and turn Chrome back on, try that, and then reboot. And it'll definitely work. What happens is you have to plug and unplug for some reason the USB. It's goofy, but and then you have to check your little camera up on top, because he had beautiful sound the other day. So I'm going to get back off and let you guys charge.
Oh, come back, Bill. We were supposed to
we could talk about this. This is pretty amazing.
It's supposed to be a joint show.
If you take a picture of that on your smartphone, that will bring you up on this show on Black.
Yes, we do know about that, Bill.
It's kind of neat. I was doing that the other day.
It was 4 years ago.
I know, it's ancient, isn't it? No,
I love the QR codes, man.
Yeah, the QR. If you take a picture of that in your smartphone, and I know I said the same thing, but I did a show on timelines.
Cool 4 years ago, Bill.
I did a show on timelines the other day, and it was pretty impressive with those QR codes what you can actually do with them on the print material.
So, folks, have you got any websites that you want us to review, or you want some advice about your website? This is the period. You got one of the knowledgeable.
Here, guys, I've got
A to Z the plugins.
So I've got one.
Any plugin questions or any general advice you need?
John, like this. I got one. This is a real estate guy.
All right.
Let's start
15 years. Oh, there's John Locke. Let's see if he comes on now. I just dropped a page in there. So open up that page. He's going to be on the show tomorrow. So wait, first, before I go off, John, what did you do?
Okay.
No sound.
So go up to the little sound guy. We're going to talk him through this. Go up to your little TV, your little camera up on the address bar on the right-hand side. Pull it down and make sure that the microphone is on. The right mic is on.
No, got it now.
So, before I get off though, I just dropped this. He's going to be on tomorrow. Is Steve Rogers is on Timelines tomorrow? Not tomorrow, but Monday. Mm-hmm. And he's a real estate guy, and he I'm not sure what he does, but I'd love to see you guys review his page without me. And I just dropped it in. It's about. So it's Steve Rogers. And
okay, got it.
I'm going to send Steve a little email right now. So we're reviewing his site right now.
You're going to stay there, though, Bill, because,
we can let somebody else in.
Oh, yeah. I suppose
and I just sent an email to all our WordPress friends, WP Tonic A to Z. And not A to Z, but WP Tonic.
Hey, love the A to Z.
Yeah.
So I've got Stephen's website up. Have you got it up, John Locke?
Alchemy Advisors. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Strange name.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, John? Have you got it up?
I've got it up. I'm trying to figure out what it is.
Isn't that a strange name?
The Alchemy Advisors isn't so strange. I've got a company here called Alchemy something.
It starts with A.
But I'm trying to figure out what the site is for.
Let's go to the homepage first of all. I put the about. There's the homepage.
Yeah, I'll just be interested in what John's Will you start off, John? I've got some strong initial impressions. I'll just be interested to hear what your thoughts are initially, John Locke.
Okay, so I've never seen this site before, and so I'm looking at it. He's speaking in front of a crowd. There's, just short short transition, transform, evolve. So maybe I'm my impression is okay, motivational speaker. So there's a book, Lead to Gold. Business plans, my services, must see videos. So it says, so that I'm kind of getting an idea of what he is right off the bat. So that's good. So then I scroll down. It's Alchemy Advisors. We're a consulting, coaching, and education firm. Okay, so that's a little vague, but then it says we help people and businesses transition, transform, and evolve to their highest good in business and life. So now that tells me you're more business coaching and life coaching. So that, and it says we guide small and large businesses, help turn lead into gold. So that, okay, so the alchemy, so that's where it comes in. Okay, so now I'm getting it. The alchemy, you turn lead into gold.
Have you tried his navigation? Because I'm in Chrome and I can't see when I click on the little box, which is really rather small, I'm not seeing anything.
The navigation box?
Yeah.
Where? In the top bar?
Yeah.
It's working okay for me.
I'm in Chrome. I'm in.
Yeah.
Is it working for you?
Working for me.
Rightio.
I do like how he's got, and I've noticed this has kind of been a thing that people have done for a few years, but kind of how some of the sections are angled. I think that's kind of cool.
It draws the eye.
Yeah, it's it's just different. So I'm on about the one thing there's a little box at the bottom of the video, and there's a headline: watch your intro to receive your free video. I'd give a little bit more padding on the top of that, probably a minor thing.
What do you think of the logo?
Now that I understand the analogy, it makes sense. I think it looks fine. I mean, because you got these the background, the kind of the A is gold, but then you see there's these kind of stripes where it's kind of silvery, so it's lead, and then as it arches into that kind of arrow, it's turning into gold. So that's an analogy for the person or the business. So I mean that makes sense. So
what do you think about it, John?
The logo?
Well, your initial impression of the
the website. Well, the problem is I landed first on the About page. And when I landed on the About page, I couldn't figure out what it was until I went to the front page. And the front page made some sense to me. But now that I have a bit of idea of how it works, I understand what he's trying to get to. But what I could see it could use is outside of the front page. The other pages don't have. If someone comes into it via another page, which most traffic arrives on websites via some other page of your site versus the front page, because they're searching for keywords or whatever, so they'll land on an internal page. And his internal pages are lacking really anything in the top half to tell me what the site's all about. There's nothing in the top half to explain anything to me. And if I was landing on it and trying to grab one here. Where am I? I'm on speaking page here. If I came in on the speaking page, maybe I was searching for speakers or coaches or consultants and landed here, which looks like a couple of keywords from this page. I get the information that he's a speaker, topics a speaker he could be from, but then there's not a lot here aside getting down to the bottom and going to a speaker details and then sending a message to him. But yeah, it's aside from the front page, there doesn't seem to be a lot to tell me what the site is all about on the inside.
Yeah, I think it's really a mix. This is only my perspective. I think it's really a mixed bag. I think in design terms, it's got some strong elements, and I agree with John Locke. I do like the cut across element because it does catch the eye. I think on the homepage, this section, consulting, coaching, workshop, it's just taking up. It's too large, and the consulting is hard to read. And in general, I just think this area is really taking up a lot of room with minimum impact for the room it's taking up. And you scroll right down quite a lot, and you get where he's been featured in CBS News. He's been featured in a lot of very prestigious publications. I would actually move that up to the top area and have that in the top section, because that does give him a lot of social credibility in a very competitive sector. So I think that's a missed opportunity having it so far down. But I think there are certain strong elements, but there are also, I feel, quite weak elements. What do you reckon, John Locke? Do you think I'm partially right about that, or do you think I'm talking a load of dribble?
I think the first thing that you need to do on any page is kind of identify like who you're serving, and it should be like kind of clear. I think especially with this, I think what you're saying about the speaking page is spot on. Like he has to identify, like, okay, you speak, but like how does that benefit like the person who's landing on this page? And if you're landing on this page, like, is there a benefit to having him speak, or why do you care? I think as far as the logos, I think, logos, like, hey, like I've been featured in this, or I worked with these people or whatever. I think that is like a lot of social proof, and I see a lot of people use that. I don't know, like how much
would you have it so low down though? Would you have it so low down?
I don't know about that. I think you got to lead with the proposition, and then show like the proof. Show like, hey, like, yeah. And I think the testimonial video and stuff like that is like more powerful than like the logos, to be honest. So,
right. That's fine. I just think there's something. It has been professionally. Would you say, John Locke, that it's been professionally done? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good site. Yeah, I think it looks fine.
Absolutely.
I would say it's been professionally done, but I think its strengths and its weaknesses a bit. I think there are, to my mind, some major weaknesses, but also some major strengths.
One thing.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, one thing I would do, like on the startups, like if you go to services and go in the drop down to startups, like you'll notice there's like this kind of word cloud stock photo. I would get rid of that and substitute something else, because I think it like kind of diminishes the product offering. I think it just looks just kind of like, you could find like a better stock photo for that. So just nitpick stuff.
So out of five dragons, well, what do we give him? Shall we start off with John, the Dragon Man? What out of 5 dragons? What would you give him?
design-wise, I'd give it a 5. I mean, it's well designed, but as far as finding the information I need, I would give it a 3 because I'm just not sure where to find everything I'm looking for. And one of the things that I'm learning is you need to put something in the top fold of the page to call people to the action. Because if they got to scroll, they don't. I mean, I've sized this down to see what it would look like in mobile, and it actually looks better in mobile than it does in the screen, because in mobile more of the stuff appears above the fold. And you get more of an idea on what's happening with it. But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do that. It's a great point. And his navigation has started to work for me.
Yeah.
Have you got the Dragon music though, John?
I don't have my music piped into the show thing here yet. I am still working on my.
I'm so disappointed, John.
Get that piped in.
So John Locke, out the Dragons from 1 to 5, what do you give him?
I would say like a 4.75, like on design. And I would say like as far as like content and stuff like that, I would say probably like I'm noticing this too, like on the consulting page, there's another one of these like kind of generic stock photos. I would say, probably like a 3.25 on finding the content. I think you got to make it really abundantly clear, like who you're serving. The design's great. Get rid of the stock photos that are overly generic and make it clear, like who you're serving and what benefit you're giving them. So.
Yeah. I'm going to be a little bit tougher. I'm going to give it 3.5. But I think what the good news is, I think with a bit more work, it could be a 4.5 site. I actually think with a bit more money and time and a bit more thought on the site, it could be a much better site. The reason why I give it 3.5 is there, to me, in core message and in some of the areas and the kind of spacing between different information areas, there are some substantial weaknesses, but also in color choice and in some of the design touches, they're quite interesting and quite powerful. So it's a little bit all over the road, and it just needs tidying up and a bit more thought. So I'll give it 3.5 dragons. I just want the music.
It's not there. Well, they only would have earned it with the 5 I gave it.
So what do you reckon, Bill? What do you reckon about? He's gone silent. You've gone quiet, Bill. We can't hear you.
I was going to give it a 4. I'm going to turn that off. It's always good sometimes. So I was coughing for a second. Hey, I was going to give it a 4, but it's he's actually was a real estate broker in Prudential in San Diego, and he's going to be on Monday. So it'll be interesting to find out more about him. Maybe, but interesting what he's doing. One thing he said is I thought was praise was a unique word. And then in services, I like his services tab, but praise, I don't know if I like the word praise. And the stock photos I didn't like. So,
well, got any more websites we want to look at, Bill?
Yeah. Well, what's an example of one of the best websites to look at? And you guys have what right?
Oh, you must have one, John Locke. Is there any that you've liked that you've seen recently?
As far as just like just general websites.
Yeah, anything caught your eye?
Sure. Let me check this out. Let me drop something in here. Okay, hold on. Yeah.
Hold on.
Let me see if I can find something on short notice. Okay, go ahead. I have somebody else drop something in really quick while I find this. Go ahead.
Well, this, I handed out. I did listen to let's do the WP Tonic.
I listened to. I got about like halfway through, so
I'm gonna drop in. I'm gonna find this website from the client.
Yeah, you put one in
on Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
Gardner. Let me find her site.
There you go.
By the way, you can meet Steve on Monday. He'll be up Monday night on iTunes, and he'll be live at 9:00. So I'll tell him we looked at his website. Yeah, I want to send my list of folks out each week that will look at their websites for them and do a quick analysis on Saturday morning. People I have coming up.
Have you put the link in, Bill? Yet?
No, not yet. I got to go pull. I should have the links already preset on my little notes here, but I haven't.
Oh, we got one. Oh, somebody's put a link here. Oh, right. Yeah, let's have a look at it.
That site. Yeah, thank you. Well, that's nice already. That is. Get back here. So thanks, Kelly. You know what? Let Kelly come. Kelly, can you come up? You want to come up? Let's bring Kelly up. I'll get out of here. Let Kelly come up. No, you're welcome to come up, Kelly.
I like this.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing, John?
If you go to nosegrays.com, man, right in the center, I want to make WordPress my bitch. Made me giggle.
There you go.
Grays.
I want to make WordPress my bitch. I like to see you got. Is that that's a link too? That's a call to action right there.
Yeah, it is a call to action, and you definitely want to click on it.
I clicked on it. Yeah. Oh, nice. Learn to blog efficiently. Keep out the hackers log. Oh, nice.
Wow, that's like truly efficient.
I like this. What theme is it? We gotta find. I'll figure out the theme.
And ready to dominate. Oh, who done this site? They got you in 3 clicks. You're in there registering and logging in.
This is what we want to see. What right looks like.
That's nice.
By the way, Beth Child was the last one. Let's see.
Ashley did this.
So what do you think of the colors?
They're very girly.
Think so?
Yeah. So as soon as I see colors like that, I think of my wife. My wife's very girly.
Maybe
I like the teal.
women.
I like the green.
It probably is, but still.
Reminds me of the Miami Dolphins.
Really?
Yeah, you don't need
colors,
equals.
Oh, is that their colors?
So.
Go on, John Locke. Can you give a slightly slightly what your initial reactions were?
Wow.
And colour? Can you start off, John Locke?
Yeah, I'll start off. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really clear. Like, you're getting WordPress training, but with attitude. I think I actually used to follow this person on Twitter at one point. So basically, it's a really clear call to action. You want to learn web development, learn to blog, learn to keep your site secure, log in and figure out all the plugins. So it probably is aimed toward women, who are trying to make a living with WordPress, and you are dealing with a real person here, and they're talking to you like they would talk to another woman, like, hey, let's whip that bad boy into submission. I like the spacing, the design. There's like bullet points here. I'm on the URL WordPress bitch. So bullet points, it's really good, really digestible. Each section has a call to action. So it's really efficient. There's not a lot of wasted space. Colors are good too.
Yeah.
They're opposite colors. Orange and the teal are opposite colors on the color wheel. So everything about it, just efficient. So
that's great. What about you, John? What's your initial impressions?
My initial impression, very good. It drove me right in there to actions on it. I realized that she offers up hosting to go with it. I mean, and the hosting is really quick and easy to order up. All of it. It's very, very clean, very efficient. Not a lot of stuff around there to take your attention away. It's all focused. Every page is focused. As I've skimmed through here while you're talking, every page has a focus. And every page drags you into something different. She's got plugins for sale in here, and you get in there real quick, and a couple links, you're ready to buy the plugins. There's almost everything in here within 2 to 4 clicks. You're ready to buy something. She's got you buying something within 2 to 4 clicks. It's all very efficient, very clean, and there's not a lot of extraneous stuff on the page to drag your attention away. So
Yeah, my response to it is I think the actual homepage is actually, in some ways, to my mind, one of the weakest. And this is why I say this. I think in design terms, I think it's a lot better than the previous site. It's more balanced. I think the font choices and the basic color choices are very appropriate, and a lot of time and effort has been spent on font choices. I also think the menu system is really simple. The only thing that I would imagine it was a decision consciously made, but I don't like the home page being called blog. I personally think that's slightly confusing. But
that is a little bit.
but a choice was made there. I think it's got a lot of strengths. The only thing that I just don't like the first nose graze, whatever it's, and I think there's just too much text on the homepage, it does get to the point, WordPress host maintenance and blah blah blah, and you go down and you scroll down and there's text and there's more text and there's more text, and I just feel there's just too much text on this first landing page, and I just don't think. After you scroll a certain distance, I just don't see it benefiting. I just think it distracts the people, basically. What do you think, John? Look,
it looks like the homepage is actually the blog archives, as you said. And obviously that was a conscious choice.
Yeah. They've chosen that, haven't they?
Yeah. One thing that's really interesting here. Okay, so you got the top banner where it gives the proposition. I make awesome things happen with WordPress. I'll help you do the same, and then the call to action, and then it looks like it's possibly like the most recent blog post, and then the sign up box for the email newsletter. And then it goes back to the blog archives. And maybe just me, I would have just not broken it up with the most recent blog post at the top there. I would have just put the email sign up like right there instead. And I'm not sure why they did that. That would be the one thing that I would change. I think I would, and I would also make it clear, like as you scroll below that here's the most recent articles. Maybe just put a heading that says like most recent articles or something like that, so it's really clear.
Yeah.
One thing I did notice when you click that call to action button and you go to I want to make WordPress my bitch.
Yeah.
There's the navigation goes away. So there's no choice but for you to click the next thing, which is I'm ready to dominate, and you register. So
yeah.
And Amazon does a similar thing. Like when they get you to the checkout page, all the other navigation goes away to where like you're just being pushed through that funnel. So that funnel is very intentional.
Yeah, you're totally right there, and it's fine if you've done extensive A to B testing and you've had previous sites and you've got enough people landing on the site and you've done enough A to B testing to clarify that is the best page for what you want to happen. So if they've done that A to B testing, they're quite justifiable in doing that. If they haven't, I think they're making some assumptions which you're pointing out, which they do need to support with some testing, don't they, John Locke?
Yeah, but perhaps they have.
Yeah, you don't know, do you?
You don't know.
I would imagine that they have. I get the feeling that most of what they've done here, it might not be precisely what I would do, but I think I get the impression that a lot of time has been spent on this site, don't you?
Oh, lots of time has been spent on the site. There is one thing I'm realizing that's missing, and that is a pricing structure.
Yes, I noticed that quite.
That was the one thing that I'm looking through, and as I get a little interested in it, I'm one of those people. It's like, okay, so what will this cost me? I don't want to know what it's going to cost me when I've signed up and I hit the end. I want to know what my costs are up front.
I do like the frequently asked questions section. I think that's quite sweet.
Yeah, that was very nice. That's very nicely done.
Yeah, I like that. It's got some really nice. The color choices. I like the font choices. What about you, John Lott? Do you like the font choices? I really like those.
Like the font choices. They're following kind of like a general rule of thumb, which is if you have a serif font for your headline, you have sans serif for your body text, or reverse. But that's what they've done here.
Cost to build this site. Well, I would say the cost to build this site here, if someone was paying for it to have it built, would probably run in the $20,000 to $30,000 range. There's a lot of work that's gone into this site.
Yeah, I would say between 10 to 15,000 myself.
Yeah.
Now, have you looked at the other things that are added in here?
No,
not only the e-commerce store, but the area for buying and hosting.
I'm looking at that right now. Actually,
that's an integration of WHMCS. And that integration will then go into a server to automatically create accounts. I know what that is because I've been working on doing that on my own site. It takes hours to accomplish and get it to work smoothly.
Well, I've got my own developers to do that bit on MailRite, so I take it in. We've got a similar thing, but yeah, pricing's hard. I take your point. So you think I didn't see that part, so you think it's between 20 and 30,000, do you?
Easily.
Right, what about you, John?
Easily.
What about you, John Lott?
Like cost? Oh, yeah, I have no idea, but definitely 5 figures. Just how high in 5 figures. One thing I'm noticing too, like on this hosting page, when you sign up, you get instant access to all pre-made themes that were coded by Nose Grays. So
she's got a lot of nice themes. I was just looking at them.
Yep.
She's got a lot of nice themes.
So it looks like her husband does the server administration and she does the actual theme and plugin development. So she is no slouch.
I've got to admit, I haven't read, I've just skim read it. Like if I'm somebody that's been taken from an advert there or somehow so I've just treated it, and I just don't straight away get what they're really offering and why I should care. I'm sorry, I just, maybe I'm being too negative. It's really a hard balance, but I'm just not getting why I should, it's a really attractive, it's had a load of money spent on it, but I'm not getting why I should care. Am I being too negative, or do you get a little bit of that yourselves? I'll start off with John Locke.
No, I from the instant I hit this site, I mean, it's obvious she teaches WordPress. I mean, so that part's obvious to me. Maybe it's, and maybe I'm closer to the target audience. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, it's succinctly. I mean, I get it, what the offering is. So I don't know.
Are there any things, John, that you would you could suggest quickly that would improve it, or do you think it's pretty solid?
The biggest thing I could see that would improve it would be a price list, somewhere where someone can actually look and see what the costs are, because the vast majority of people that are looking for things like hosting and themes and stuff are price comparison shopping, and they want to know what their costs are going to be in the end, and then maybe a little bit about the support, but that's the biggest thing I can see.
Oh yeah, I think it's a solid. It's the best one.
Solid site
from last week. I think it's the most attractive I've seen. So this we haven't got the music, unfortunately. That's really, you let us down, John. No dragon music.
I'm gonna have to work on my mixer here and get that.
You must
working.
understand I'm extremely childish and I need my music. So John, how many dragons would you give it?
Design wise, well done. I mean, it's really nice. It's got to definitely be a 5. As far as functionality, funneling people in, it's definitely going to be right up there with a 4, 4.5. I don't usually give half stars, but I'd say a 4. It's really quite nice. It's nicely done. It even drew me in. I actually signed up for.
I think we have to have. I'll put this to you. We're going to have like 3 parameters: design, functionality, and marketing message. How does that sound? Okay. So in design, how many 5 would you give it?
I'd give it 5 for the design. Functionality.
How much would you give it for functionality?
Functionality, I would definitely give it it's been a 5. I mean, functionality's been great. Right. And what was the 5? Marketing message would definitely be a 4.
So John Locke, so we've got design, functionality, marketing message. So with design, what would you give it?
I think design's a 5, and I think functionality is also a 5. I'd give it just slightly higher. Marketing message, I would say like 4.25. If you dig like a little deeper into this site, you'll see. Well, I'm on shopnosegrays.com/product make WordPress theme. Try and drop this in really quick. You'll notice that there is like pricing for this.
Oh, where's that?
I'm gonna drop it in right now. Okay, I just dropped it in there. Right. But so the register for the Make WordPress Your Bitch course, that is a free course. So I think that that's a gateway to paid products. So on the Making a WordPress theme, she positions it like you're investing in your business, because if you learn to create your own WordPress themes, it's going to open up new clients and opportunities. And so she's offering levels: e-course access 97, plus one-on-one. If you add a one-on-one review, 147. So there's 2 options there. Maybe 3 would be good, but so obviously the content is a gateway. The Make WordPress Your Bitch offering is probably like a autoresponder like kind of sequence. That's a gateway to buying the actual products. So
yeah, I think that's really well pointed out, John Locke. Myself, I think design I would give it 5. For functionality, I would give it 4. And for marketing message, I give it like 3.5, because I think it's a little bit all over the place. A little bit. I'm not too sure what their key thing they're trying. But that's only my personal thing. But I do believe of the sites from last week and this week, it's one of the strongest.
Right. Hey, right. Since we've got the primaries coming up, or the first caucus coming up in Ohio, I'd like to look at finish up today by looking at some political sites. And we also remind people tomorrow at 6 o'clock Pacific, we'll have Meet the Voter, meetthevoter.com. So we're going to talk about marketing too for the politicians. First one was jebbush.com.
Ooh. Oh, I love that it redirects to Donald Trump's site.
Somebody dropped the ball.
Jeb Bush is the most, I tell you, the worst social media, worst run campaign online is Jeb Bush's, I think.
That's going to cost him.
So, John, you go first. Go tell us, what's your initial impressions? First of all, I'm
going to get off, but I'll start putting up these sites for rapid fire. Try to hit them real fast, and I'll start kicking the next one up.
Sure.
So here's the first one. Let me put it up.
Well, which one are we looking at?
We're going to do the Trump one.
You got to remember, Canadian politics is so much less entertaining than American politics.
So here's the first site. I'm going to get off of here, and you guys just.
Okay. So he wants us to look at.
He wants us to look at Trump's site. So I mean, design-wise, I mean it looks fine. I mean, all the candidates are pretty much going to use red and blue, some kind of variation. Font choice is good.
Yeah.
Nice, clean design. Picture of Mr. Trump there. His little slogan. So call to action right away after the hero image. Show your support. You can either join or donate. So that's good. And then focusing on the Iowa caucus, and with some news here. Nice, clean, minimal design. He's stripped out like everything that's unnecessary. So, it's good. It's fine.
What about the navigation? What's the initial?
Navigation is clean. I like it. So I'm looking around. So if I go to positions, this looks clean and very clean design. You have a left main content with just kind of like staying as positions, and a little sidebar where you can go to the other positions, and a little download for the PDF. Everything unnecessary is stripped out of here. So that's good. You go to states. So this is nice. There's the 50 states, and it's like a little grid of the states. And I guess if you click on here, get involved, you can sign up. It's a little sign up sheet. So, and what's a nice little touch here is on each state, it looks like there's. So I go to the Florida one. There's like a picture of a beach in the background.
Which page is that on? That on states?
I'll drop it for you.
No, states. I'm there now.
Okay, hold up. I'll drop it in there.
Yeah.
So I just noticed this one. I just clicked on one, Florida. So there's a little sign up sheet for how you can get involved, and so I mean they just want your the info. I guess they'll send you some info. So the background there, it's like a little beach. So that's kind of cool, and it's a little parallax design. So let me click on Arizona, and let's see what we get. So we get a little cactus. So I'm assuming for each of these states, somebody went through and picked like a background photo. So that's kind of neat. So, I mean, he's definitely paying more than $3 for someone to develop his site, no matter what he says.
Just a little bit, a lot of time and thought. Yeah. It's really, really easy, folks, and I've learnt this the hard way myself. It's really easy to throw the kitchen sink on a home page and all the other pages.
Yep.
Just ram more stuff on it. It takes a lot of thought, energy to really get to the core proposition and get to get the information that they really expect and want. And a lot of time and thought has gone on this. What do you think, John?
It's really a great site. It's nicely done. It's very simple. It gets to the messages. Very quickly gets to whatever messages he's trying to push, especially his changes and his media message, to make it easy to join. And yeah, there's been some definite thought gone into each of the states. I mean, every state has an image that is representative of that state behind it. I mean, they got the shop in there. They got the media, news, press releases, schedule of where he's going to be. It's pretty much, it's very quick, easy. The site is super fast and responsive. So they're spending some money here.
Yeah, my response is, and nothing about the politics side of it, but as a website, I think it's quite impressive, and a lot of money and thought has gone into it. And like what John Locke pointed out, it's got some nice little touches. You can tell somebody spent a lot, the team that developed it have spent a lot of time, and it's got a great balance of information without over. There's information if you want it, but it's not overwhelming. It's a lot of time and money's been spent on it. So let's go to the marketing. So the marketing's design, functionality, and marketing. So John, what would you give it for design?
Well, design-wise, sorry, John Locke, go ahead.
It's so confusing.
That's why I'm saying John Locke. I'm not trying to be formal because
yeah.
So go John Locke.
Yeah, I give it a straight up 5. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with Mr. Trump's views, but like he definitely.
We're just talking websites here, folks.
He's got a great. He definitely has a great website. I'll give him 5 for design, functionality, and marketing message.
Yeah. What about you, John?
I would definitely give it a 5 here too, because it's very well nicely done. I was just digging through the code on it too to see what kind of site it's on.
Would you give it a 5 for all 3 categories?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's this is also a custom website. This is not built on a WordPress platform.
No.
Yeah.
So I was just digging through the code to see how it was made, and yeah, it's 100% custom. So there's a fair chunk that's gone into it. So yeah, nicely done. It's very nice. It's very quick, very easy. They direct you to all the right places. So yeah, 5 through all the categories.
Yeah, I would give it 5, 5, and 5. It gets we would, if we had the dragon music, it would be really raw. You know, I'm
rocking.
As a website, it is been well thought out. Color choices, fonts, information layout. It would have been so easy just to throw the kitchen sink on something like this, but you know, a lot of thought and money and time has definitely gone into it, and I would say it's the top site I've seen. So yeah, I would agree that. So has the wizard put anything else in? Oh, what about this one? Is this one?
I put
John.
one in. Yeah, Jeb Bush is actually running a WordPress site. So
right.
Yeah. So the Jeb 2016. At the top, you know, he's got his at the top, he's got just clean navigation. He's got a donate button for the single call to action at the top right, logo in the top left. Then his navigation is Meet Jebs. That's the about news, blog, videos, issues. A mega menu kind of pops down. So each of these has a heading: safer, stronger, freer, other. And as you'll see, that kind of ties into his tagline, join us to restore a safer, stronger, freer America. States, he's only got the ones that are coming up in the primaries right now for whatever reason. Not sure why he did that. Then there's a volunteer link and a shop link.
If you go to the caucus locations, that's definitely not been done as well as Mr. Trump's with the little maps. He's just got a list, really, hasn't he?
Yeah. And so if I go to Iowa, there's a little sign-up sheet, and where the submit button says "I'm in." It looks like he's doing something similar. But not as cool as Trump was doing. So you're supposed to sign up here, and I guess they try and get you to, campaign for him, show up at the caucuses. There's a bunch of videos. The one thing I notice, if you go to volunteer, that is just a hero image, Jeb Bush, a sign-up form, and there's no navigation anywhere else. I think you can go back to the homepage. That's it. So
yeah,
they strip out.
Getting back to the homepage, it's hard too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is. Yeah. So what do you reckon? What do you reckon, John?
It looks like he hired an intern to build a website.
Oh, I think that's a little bit harsh, but yeah, go on. Go a bit.
I'm sorry. It's considering, a presidential campaign, they should at least, put some effort into their website. It kind of reminds me of hiring somebody from college to put something together for me when I'm working on practice websites. It's very simplistic. It loads really slow. The slowness of it is painful a couple of times.
Oh, right.
Here.
It's been okay where I am, but
yeah. Well, maybe they just don't care about Canada. We're sort of separated from the world. But
in Canada, it's just trickling through.
Yeah, it's just trickling through. They got a throttle on it. Oh, he's going to Canada. They're not important. They can't vote.
Right.
But seriously, it's all in all, it's a pretty basic site. It's a very simplistic in how it was put together, and while it meets the needs, it's not as directed as as Trump's site. Trump's site there is very directed. The messages on each page are very precise. Do this, do this, do this. His isn't. He's got a lot of extraneous stuff on every website, on every page.
I do.
It's like a new designer did this. The person who throws everything together on a page thinking they need more information, forgetting that white space should exist.
I'm not as scathing as you, John, about it, but your last couple topic comments I think are spot on. It's definitely not up to the league of Mr. Trump's website, because whoever did that is very experienced, not only in design and development terms, but in information layout.
There's a team doing. There's a team doing his site.
People. Jeb's site. I'm not as scathing about it as you. I don't think an intern has done it. But on the other hand, I'd imagine this costs a fair bit of money to do. But in information layout, it does not compare to Mr. Trump's. And there also is a lot more going on this website. There's a lot more different sections, a lot more information. I'm not sure it really does anything. I think Mr. Trump's site, as a site for its purpose, does exactly as much or even more than all the extra content and website pages that you got on Jeb's site. And definitely, I do agree with you, John, that it's not been worked out to such a high level. What's your feelings about this, John Locke, between me and John? Are you in the middle, or do you agree with John? It's a bit of a hash up.
I don't think it's a total hash up, but I mean, it's definitely not the. I mean, you're campaigning for president, and I think Trump's is more focused. I think whoever he got to design his site, they stripped away all the extraneous elements out of each page. And I think with Jeb's, it's not terrible, but no. I just don't think it's as focused.
There hasn't been the real hours and the real focus, which is so obvious with the Trump site, isn't it?
Nah.
What do you think they paid for these sites? Millions. We need to go through that. And then I want to go to Brewery Center.
Seven to eight figures. That's what they should be.
That Trump site costs
a
lot of money, Bill. That Trump
site, absolutely. He's spent in the 100,000 plus for him.
My mom just let our dogs back in, so let me.
The wall.
Jeb's site, well, Jeb's site here is the kind of site I used to do years ago for a few $1,000s. All I needed was the graphics to throw it together. So he probably spent a lot of money.
You like the bushes, do you, John?
That's all irrelevant to the fact. I don't like Trump much either. So it's like I can still admire and appreciate good quality work when I see it. Yeah, well, that's all right. American politics, like I said, they're entertaining. We had our election; it lasted 60 days, and we thought it was forever.
To be serious, I'm between. I do see where you're coming in. I'm not so severe in my comments in design. Just think they just. I think in font choices, photography, color, it's attractive. But it's too. But I do agree with you, John.
If you want to go into his photography choice, the photos they chose are completely wrong. They're so huge. They take forever to download. It's like I've loaded a couple pages and I watched the photo load line by line.
I think you need to get onto your internet provider.
No, there's nothing wrong with my internet. There's something being delivered from their site. That just tells me the image is rather large. And they've also stuck things in the middle of the image, such as, what page am I on? Oh, the home page.
Right.
The sign-up thing is in the middle of the image, so it gets lost.
Let's get on to the marking, John. So what would you give it for design?
For design, I'd be lucky to get a 2 out of me.
Functionality?
Functionality, maybe a 2 or a 3.
Marketing?
Marketing, maybe a 3.
What about you, John Locke? Design?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe about a 3. I mean, I'm going to judge it like more harshly because I mean, this is a presidential site.
Yep.
So I'm going to say like, 3 because it basically looks like, I mean, most blogs. I mean, marketing message, I would say 2.5. And I think functionality. Yeah, functionality. I'm looking at it like in Chrome Inspector, and it's throwing like a lot of errors. There's some things that are kind of deprecated that are coded in here. So I'm going to say like functionality, like a 2. It's just not to the level that you would expect from a presidential site.
Yeah, Jeb. I think you need some better web people for the money. I agree. Free. I give it 3s. But I could give it 2s, being the kind of money that should have been thrown at this that wasn't. So shall we go on to Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, let's look at Bernie Sanders.
Hold a second. Let me come in the political side. Right. I've run for office, politics, and I actually work with politicians. And let me tell you something about the finances, the money behind these sites. Trump, just in a nutshell, Trump has run an amazingly efficient campaign without spending much money. Bush has outspent him tremendously. Spent, I think, $41 million early on in his campaign. Wow. And
should have done some of the website.
The Republican side, the absolute worst is the Jeb Bush campaign when it comes to technology, social media, they just lost it. And they've been in politics forever. That guy doesn't even own his own domains. Just baffling how they can be so bad. So Jeb Bush, you can see from the site, it doesn't even load fast. It's not optimized. Yeah. And Trump has spent very, very little money on his campaign.
He spent a fair bit on his website. I can tell you that now.
Yeah, now we're going to look at Bernie Sanders and Hillary. I think now, before we go into this, Bernie Sanders, I've been watching his campaign closely. He had a PhD who was 39 years old, who they had to fire because of the DNC Volter Vault issue, where he looked at the Volter Vault from Hillary's. But that might have been a setup. But he had a very, very, very good team early on in social media. So let's look at Bernie's and look at Hillary's, and we'll call it a day for these websites.
Yeah. So we're on Bernie's. Bernie's, and I'm having a look.
I Googled Bernie, and it's interesting to see what comes up when you Google too.
Yeah. So what's your initial impressions of the homepage, John Locke?
Well, here's the thing too. I did Google Bernie Sanders, and there's like a splash page that takes you to this site, which I don't know that I would have done that, but it's interesting. I'm looking at it in Chrome Inspector, and it looks like there's something being blocked in my end in Chrome. I don't know if that's just me. But interesting.
That's a welcome gate.
Okay. So I mean, we got the hero photo. We got like the navigation on the left. So it's like about issues, events, volunteer news, and the contribute button. And that takes you to a so the contribute takes you to kind of like a third party like payment thing, which okay, all right. So the big thing is the marketing message is like, obviously he's like standing against like the billionaires. I mean, everything in this marketing message is about that. He's got a lot of call to action things on this homepage. Like every so often it's like, sign up for the newsletter or get mobile alerts or donate. Yeah, I think there's two like things or we need your help. I think that's the first one is like, so they need people like in each state to kind of like, go to the caucuses and stuff like that. But I mean, his marketing message is strong. Design is fine. I still don't think as good as Trump's. As far as just straight design, there's a lot of stuff on the homepage. So just a lot of stuff. So
well,
what are your thoughts?
Hello. Go on, John. What do you think?
It's a little bit better than the last one we looked at, than Bush's.
Yeah.
It makes more sense. The splash page makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, because I did try to go to the splash, and it's like, okay, splash pages haven't been used for several years. Going through it, unless I was a Bernie Sanders supporter, I really wouldn't know where to go in here. Need your help, sign up, ready, start. There's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of white against the thin blues. Going down through, they've got the store through it. Having the navigation in that one spot at the top on the left is like, it makes it difficult to do anything else but be on the one page. Because if you're like a lot of people, you start scrolling down and you go, oh, there's no navigation. Okay, keep scrolling down, keep scrolling. Oh, there's navigation at the bottom. Okay, well, then we can click from there. But then there's still only navigation at the bottom, no matter where you go. So it makes it hard to get around.
Yeah, I think that's great. So where I would go with this is I agree with John Locke about the homepage. There's just too many calls for action.
Yeah.
There's bloody calls for action all over the place.
Constantly
It's almost
true.
like they've just gone potty with calls for action, and it's a bit of a mess. Be quite truthful about it. The other pages, the navigation, I wouldn't say it's fantastic. I would say it's better. Like what you said, John, it is better than Jeb, but it's nowhere near as good as Mr. Trump's site, and it has, like Jeb, a lot of stuff that's been thrown on. The basic photography style and the layout is very similar to Jeb. A bit better, to my mind, a little bit more professional in some ways. But it's got that sense. It's just the kind of information mapping that kind of really, which should be, if you're spending a lot of money, somebody really needs to do that. And this is a presidential site, and he's a major contender. So I would imagine they should have been the time spent. But compared to Mr. Trump's site, it doesn't compare really, does it?
No.
So let's go for the marking. So we've got to get on to Hiri and then wrap this up.
Let me
go on.
comment on
that. Can I go for the marking first, Bill, or do you?
What do you mean marking?
Well, we're giving it a mark out rating.
Oh, mark. Let me put my 2 cents in and then come back to the marking too. Hey, on this website too, because this is my bailiwick. This is the politics. Trump's is a little hard. I'm just looking at strictly the visuals and the feel, because it's a feel. People vote because they feel good. I think the colors feel better on Bernie's, to tell the truth. Now, I agree with everything else you said in the navigation, but the feel and the colors is good on his. It's a little softer, but there is a lot of stuff up there, and it's all valid to a campaign. And one thing that I see people do when they mail out stuff is they ask too many call to actions in campaigns. And that's just the culture of the consultants in campaigns. So I think you only need limited. I do like the splash page though, because it's limited. It does one thing. It grabs the email address.
Yeah. Well, good then.
So anyway.
Good then, John Locke. What would you give it for design?
I mean, design, I would say, I agree. There's only so much you can do with red and blue, but every candidate has to kind of do their own take on that. The one thing with the design, I noticed too, the homepage is the navigation is on the left-hand side, and every other page it's on the top, like a top strip. I would say design maybe like a 3.75, and because it's a presidential campaign, I think as far as marketing message, functionality. Another thing, I would say. Functionality, I would say almost like a 2.75, because I noticed on some of these pages that you go to, say volunteer, and I think there is another one with a map. If you try and go back to the main site, it actually takes you back to the splash page and not the main homepage, which I think is a mistake.
That's a real pain in the posterior. What about marketing?
I think marketing message. And I think maybe a 4 or 4.5, somewhere in there, because I think he does have a stance. I mean, I think with Jeb, it's less focused, but I mean he has a stance. I think it could be less call to actions, though. I mean that part of the design has gotta focus each page.
What about you, John? Design?
Design wise, maybe a 3, because it's kind of hard to figure out where everything's at. And as far as functionality, man, I'd give it a 2, because it's like I'm having troubles finding my way around. I'm having to use the back button a lot to get back to things.
And marketing?
Marketing has got to be maybe a 3. It's like there's so many things that ask me to do stuff. It's like, which one do I do? So, and there are too many on each page. You know, they don't have the pages focused.
Yeah. Where I stand on design, I think it's better than Jeb. So I'll give it a 4.
Absolutely better than Jeb.
I'll give it a 4. When it comes to functionality, too many calls on the home page, and you've got to use the back button too much. So I'll give it a 2, actually. I think there's bloody calls for action all over that bloody home page. It's a mess. And when it comes to actual marketing, I'll give it a 3. But, you know, it's a bit like Jeb. They're thrown like the kitchen sink. But I agree with John. It's a bit more focused. You got freaking no idea with Jeb when it comes to marketing message. It's just based on the website. So are we going to look at Heroes, Bill, to finish?
Hey, Jonathan,
on?
we'll do that next. One last comment from my side. Yeah. I sort of disagree with you a little bit, because I know the politics and the politicians and the mindset of the people in politics. Man, remember, most of these people looking here may not be quite as savvy on computers or on websites. I mean, they're just casual users. But I was going to say, the first thing you see on that splash site I really like is no one works 40 hours a week. We should be living in poverty. And it says email address, zip code, and this I agree. It's like a call to action. There's one call to action, period, and that gives you the theme of what he's talking. That's in your brain politically is right there.
Yeah, but I think, but Bill, first of all, I think having a splash page before you even learn about the geezer I don't like it. And then when you do get to the main page, there's like 15 different freaking calls for action.
But this
piece on the splash page could have been more effectively used inside the site.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't think in like politicians. The other thing too is I don't like when it says continue to the site. Yeah. I don't like that's not big enough. It's not easy enough to get there, but they're just trying to get that impression in people's mind. That's what they're trying to do with that site. And I agree with a lot of the other things. There's a lot to it. It's busy. First of all, what's the cost of the page? Real fast before we go on to
Hillary. Oh, right. How much? I don't know. What do you reckon? John? John, you go, John.
All these sites all these sites have to cost like at the least like high 6 figures, and up to like 8 figures. I mean, because of who they're for. They can't
a lot of data, man.
Yeah. So there's a lot of
I'm basing my charges on what I could realistically see it built at, not as who is paying the bill. Yeah. Realistically, this site here could be built for between $5,000 and $10,000. That's realistic.
Mm-hmm. But look at all the backside maintenance on it too.
Yeah, well, that's additional cost. But building out this site here with the work that's gone into it.
How do you host? And before we go to Hillary, how do you host something like this? I mean, you must be getting tons of hits.
You get
yourself a very good provider and get yourself a VPN or a dedicated server.
Dedicated,
and this is linked server. This is a server farm with linked redundancy and data transfer. So, and they've probably got Cisco switches. Whoever set it, they're going to have to deal with a lot of fluctuation in volume. So they've thrown some really serious. This is why this costs serious money, folks, to run something like this. That's the kind of setup they've got, because their fluctuation. Pardon?
What kind of CRM do you think they're using?
They're using WordPress for this one.
For CRM?
Yep.
Yeah, I looked this one up. I looked at the code on Bernie's, his WordPress.
Yeah. Wow, so he's doing it all in-house at CRM?
Yeah, it's fine, as long as you've got enough hardware to,
You got the hardware. WordPress is fine.
You just got to throw.
Wow.
There's lots of big sites.
Are we gonna finish off with?
Yeah, let's go on. Let's finish up with your good friend Hillary.
Okay.
Where is it? Where is it? Where's the
just start by Googling. Everyone Google Hillary Clinton and see what they look like.
Do I have to?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's now in my search result or search history.
Hillary Clinton. She may be going to jail. Not her, but the people around her, at least.
Yeah. Okay, so she's got HillaryClinton.com. At least she owns her own domain.
Yeah, that's helpful, isn't it?
She's got a pop-up.
Yep.
Wait a second. Hillary Clinton.
That works.
The New York Times comes up first. I'm just looking at my Google. There it is.
Yeah.
Something there.
For her, it's like in the news and her. Yeah.
Definitely a pop-up.
Yeah.
What do you think of that pop-up?
They work. They're annoying, but they work.
They do work better in a squeeze page, better in the landing page.
They work very well. They're annoying, but they work very well.
Yeah.
See, what she's saying, I agree to. Let's elect a president who will defend and build on President Obama's progress.
I thought they didn't like each
funny.
other.
That's funny. The political show's tomorrow night, but we'll be talking about this interesting release on Friday. And the president had to know about.
Yeah, can we keep off the politics and just talk about her website?
Let's look at her website. This is a little blocky.
So, John Locke, what's your initial impression of the homepage?
Okay, so the first thing I'm seeing, it's T-2 days, and then people holding an Iowa sign. So, I mean, obviously, if you follow politics, you know what that means. Like, it's because in the United States, like Iowa and New Hampshire are the first caucuses, and they kind of go a long way to kind of determining like who's going to be the front runner candidate come November. But if you didn't know what that means, T-2 days, what does that mean? But then right underneath that, there's like a little call to action to join the campaign with the email address and the zip code. Just sign up and then a donate button. So right away, you got like the call to actions like near the top, which is good. That's smart. Then it's kind of like the issues that she stands for. So you can find out. But then you got this weird sidebar. It's like shop now. So it's like almost like buy your Hillary swag. Commit now. It's like commit to vote for Hillary. Well, either you're going to vote for her or you're not. So, and then read now, get the facts. I mean, I don't know that this sidebar is even necessary for the homepage. I just don't think so. Interesting thing, like when you go to the navigation, there's states, and she doesn't have all 50 like Mr. Trump did. She's got more than Jeb did. But some of these, like when you click on them, it's like Hillary for Iowa, and then there's all this like links and stuff. But then some of them, it's like just a volunteer with the sign up form, kind of like we seen with Trump. But there's not like a consistency between the two.
No.
So
no, not at all. So what's your impression, John, of the homepage and maybe some of the other pages?
Well, the homepage is nice. It drags you in. If you don't know what T-2 days is, like I didn't have a clue what that was because I haven't paid attention to American politics in decades.
Oh, you're so lucky, John. You're so bloody lucky.
If you click on it, all it does is take you to a commit to vote for Hillary. And it's like, okay, well, I guess that helps. To join the campaign, nice call to action there. And then to donate, very nice. It's very clean. Then it's got her issues and what I assume are blog posts to talk about her stuff. The sidebar is very simple. It's, go buy your Hillary swag and show your support by wearing her name on your chest. Commit. Yeah, okay. And then the other ones, the other pages, it's fairly clean where it takes you to them and what it wants you to do. The volunteer one takes you directly to a volunteer sign up. The state ones, each state is tailored, it looks like, for what they want to do in that state. Being as like Alabama is just a picture of something related to Alabama and sign up. And as you mentioned, the Iowa one is the Iowa picture and then things that are happening with the caucuses around Iowa. So it helps get the people involved in that state a little bit more involved. So yeah, it looks like the marketing message is working a bit better here. and it's clean. I like it. It's clean. It's very fast. It's not a WordPress website. It's custom code. So it's probably one of the reasons why it comes through as quickly as it does.
Do you really think so, or do you actually think you can't have a WordPress site?
Oh, you can in WordPress. You just got to spend money. You got to spend money in WordPress to make it fast. You either spend money to make WordPress fast, or you custom code. But in the end, you spend about the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Because it's just what you want. How much flexibility? And
what's the safest though?
Most people.
These sites.
What's that?
These sites are going to be attacked viciously.
Oh, there's no safe, man. Every site is vulnerable. Custom code is just as vulnerable as WordPress. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they just better have a good security team in place to help keep them protected. But you can guarantee these are being attacked 24/7 as people want to deface them.
Yeah, what do I think? I agree with you, John. Both of you. I think the calls for action are much better worked out. It's not as worked out as Trump's site, but compared to the previous Sanders, yeah, there's two calls. Join the campaign and donate. It's that simple. There isn't like 6 or 7 of them. There's 2 calls for. If you join the campaign, and that could be either the general campaign or what's going on at the present moment in Ohio, and then donate. It's that simple. And then she's got some of her policy positions, and you can click to read some more. As a home page, it's not as good as Trump, but it's much better than Sanders or Jeb. You can see somebody's thought it out a bit more. They haven't thought it out as well as Mr. Trump's website, but they thought it out. The inconsistency I do like the way Mr. Trump did the different states. I think that's the best we've seen. And I'm halfway between what John Locke said about it. There's a bit of a lack of consistency. And what you said, John, that they're trying to kind of customize it for the requirements of each state. And I think that's why it's ended up the way it has, because they're trying to please like 2 separate dogs, really. And that's why you've ended up the way it's ended up. So I think both your insights were really good on that particular part of it. I think it's got... I feel that there's been a bit more thought about where you go in the information, and you don't have to use the back button as much as Sanders. That was just awful. You just had to keep using the back button all the time.
I didn't use the back button at all on her site. She's got a beautiful navigation right at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the data, I call it the information flow, has been worked out quite well. I don't think I give it as the 4 we've seen. I give it the runner-up to Trump. It's not as good as Trump, I don't feel, but it's certainly a lot better than Jeb's and Sanders' website. What do you think, John?
Absolutely, this one would fall with a nice, good, steady 4 for everything, right behind Trump's designs and ahead of definitely the other 2. It's easier to navigate, easier to find your way around. She's definitely found some better people to build her website.
What do you think, John Locke?
I think as far as design, I think this is probably like a 4.75. I think as far as functionality, I'd give it a 5. And I think as far as marketing message, I would give it a 4 or 5. The one thing that I would say maybe is just make it really clear, like what her kind of like stance is, like her kind of tagline, if you would. So,
yeah, I give it for design a 4, for functionality for a 4, for marketing a 4. I'll give it 4s. Like I say, I think it's a strong runner-up. But like what we said, Trump gets 5, 5, and 5. Whoever developed and designed it and really knows what their job is. They were spot on, weren't they?
I don't. One thing I will say about like Hillary's campaign too, like the logo, the H with the arrow is kind of like, pretty generic. But one thing that she has done that's been exceptional as far as just overall like design is she hired Pentagram, which is a really famous New York design company, to do custom icons of the H for certain days. And I've noticed people sharing this on Twitter, like for certain days, like Thanksgiving, it was like a turkey, like H for
how appropriate.
Like, all different ones. Yeah, they have like dozens of these like icons for different days, like along the year. So big props to that, because I don't see anybody else like doing that sort of thing. So,
so shall we finish off with our political advisor?
So
what do you reckon?
I think I actually, in some aspects, this is softer. It's Trump looks really slick, almost looks too slick, and this doesn't look as slick. But the colors are nice, and the graphics and the visuals. Though the people are like yelling, and I don't know about the pictures. I like the pictures, I like the colors, but it looks kind of basic too. So it's designed to be connecting to the people, I guess. But I like, it's got a simple call to action: join the campaign right in the top, and then donate. Those are the two things that politicians need to do. Those are the most important things: join the campaign and donate. Donate's probably more important in a lot of campaigns.
Oh yeah,
you need voters. You need donate and voters. Sometimes the join the campaign is just the way to get it.
I'm just going to say something. It's maybe just me, Bill, but when you go to if you go to the issue page, you click issue underneath a photo, it's got Alzheimer's disease. Do you think the suggestion is she's got it?
Where is it?
Alzheimer's disease.
Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Do you think
I'm dealing with that right now with a family member, man.
Let me tell you what these issues are.
That's all right, man. It's an interesting thing.
These issues.
My mother died of that, John. My mother died.
Alzheimer's is huge right now, and this is very political. She's trying to get elected.
Very huge. It's a big generation is catching it. Lots of people.
We should, maybe tomorrow at the political show, we'll talk about this page. I might bring it up. Might ask on the second half when you take it over about these issues. And look at the different candidates and what issues they brought up on their issues page. I think that's a very good thing to do on a website.
Yeah. Well, for a candidate to do that, things that they think are important.
I like her. I like that picture there too. That's one of the better pictures of her on the issue.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I meant it in actual design terms, because you could actually. Is it saying that she's got it? I might be a little bit flippant.
I know what you mean, but I'm just thinking. Hey, the other thing too is if you're just a candidate running for city council, governor, or whatever it might be, I really like this format, having the, your menu bar on the top, in place. I love that, and I actually really like. I think for a general politician, this is a great format, the best to go at. Trump's is sort of like this, but it's almost too slick.
I do see what you. Yeah, in a way, I can see, but I just felt the amount of time that it was. This is what people don't understand. It takes a lot of experience and skill to get a message down to its pure core, but still have enough information so it's not whittled down to, so it's almost nothing. And that takes a lot of work. And that's what you can see on the Trump site. I don't know if John Locke and John agrees. You could really see that somebody that really knew what they were doing really worked on it. Would you agree with that, John Locke?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I really do like the issues page too. Since we're already here, this is it is focused, and Trump's
like the white.
Yeah, there's lots of white space. Everything's like focused on this, and her site is like a lot less like extraneous information than you saw on Jeb Bush or even Bernie Sanders' site. So, I mean, I think this is a really, really solid runner-up. So,
it's definitely solid. And whittling down simple is hard. People don't understand. The simpler you need it, the harder it is to do.
I think she's making a lot of friends with this site too, because I know people who are sort of the middle of the ground. They said, "Oh, she's got something up on some disease somewhere." I forgot. I mean, a couple of people I know, and this is like it's connection. If you look at Trump's site, he's only got 5. Hey, let's hit that tomorrow night, Jonathan, at the second hour. let's bring up these two locations because that's a pretty good contrast. Hey, we do have one person asking to review their site, and if they do, I'd really like to put that up. And let me go see if I can find it. It's the artofpillows.com.
Okay, you'll have to excuse me half a moment. I'll be right back.
Okay,
Yeah, sure.
let me drop this in. The artofpillows.com. I think this is I know what the site. It's not a WordPress site. It's the artofpillows.com. I think it's
What?
Oh, I know what it is. It's it's a cart, I think. Shopify.
Yeah,
Shopify.
sure. We'll look at Shopify. Just Bunny.
It's in there. I put it in the bottom. It's Shopify. I don't know a lot about Shopify.
Do you want to talk about it, John Locke?
Yeah, let me take a look at it.
Can you talk about Shopify?
Yeah, I don't.
What is it?
Shopify development, but let's take a look. So so I'm looking at it.
So can you first of all, John Locke, can you describe to people what Shopify is?
Yeah, sure thing. Basically, what it is, Shopify is like an e-commerce platform. It's subscription as a service. You pay like a certain amount each month to be on the platform. But you can like hire people that do custom Shopify development to trick your site out. They have like recommended developers. So it is like a dedicated like e-commerce platform where they basically take care of the back end stuff. So I'm looking at the homepage, and it's got like kind of like a slider, but it's like fading like the images in the art pillow, and it's showing the products. So that's good. So these look cool. And then, so scroll down, there's like a little parallax action going on there. And then there's home catalog blog about us. And then I think, okay, so then there's like some products. There's the cupcake pillow, the old New York City pillow. I think that's the Flatiron building, the skull pillow, and the tulip pillow. So let's take a look. So you go to a product page. I'm on old NYC pillow. So it shows two photos, or I'm guessing it's two photos side by side of the products. That's cool. Got the price, got the description. And then at the bottom, like another thing of the pillow. Add to cart. The price is like a little hard to read. I would maybe make that like stand out a little bit more. But aside from that, I'm fine. I think that's fine. So let's go to catalog, and then we've got the 5 products. We've got Space Kid pillow in there too. So that's fine. It's obviously like in a grid of 4, so the one kind of like spills over to the bottom. It's probably not a lot they can do that without getting someone to custom do that. So blog. So the top thing is it's announcing the Space Kid pillow. So then there's a link to the article. So it just says, let me know what you think. I would have put more on that, Eric. I would have just added a little bit more. So then I scroll down like the blog pages. There's like some more stuff. Art for the pillows. There's like the pug dog. I mean, so this is, I mean, it's fine. I mean, I think one thing that I would say, like with the blog posts here, I would like add more because I would add more to these articles, not just make them like a paragraph long, because otherwise there's not a lot of point in like having a blog. Aside from that, so about us is the only other thing. So describing what you do around us, it would be a dull world without art. Humans need art. We like pillows. And I think this kind of positions it like why we lean on pillows and meshing like art and pillows together. It's fine. And so there's like a little contact there. I don't know if I would break out like about us and contact like into separate pages. Might be something to think about. Aside from that, fine basic site.
Yeah,
works fine.
What do you think, John? What do you think, John?
Okay. Well, I was looking at it as John was discussing it, and yeah, it is a very good basic site. It's straightforward. It's easy enough to navigate and find your way around. As far as your blog goes, I'd make sure you remove that first post because the first post is still there. Here's our first post. That needs to be cleared away. If you're going to use the blog is great for driving people to your website, but only if you start describing the information and such instead of a picture of the pillow and the Space Kid pillow. Let us know what you think, and that's it. Or actually, wait a sec. Yeah, when I even go to read the article, that's all there is. So you want to be a little bit more detailed or talk about it or what makes the pillow so good. What stands your pillows out amongst every other pillow that's available in the world? That's what I would do. I mean, a Shopify site, they're pretty simple. Their navigation is pretty decent. They give you some advantages to SEO along the way. Their checkout system is straightforward. So you're good to go there. But other than that, it's pretty decent. The one thing that sort of gets me, and I can't quite figure it out, is when I click on an individual item, I've got two views of the pillow at the top, which is fine, and I've got another, looks like a third view of the pillow at the bottom. So it kind of confuses me a bit because it wraps it around the content, but I don't understand if that's Shopify or not. I've never used Shopify, so it could just be the way Shopify is designed if you have more than a couple of images.
Well, I have done quite a few Shopify websites myself, John. I haven't done one for over a year and a half, but I did over a dozen. It's a great platform. Obviously, I'm a WordPress junkie, but I think if you're looking for that type of fully hosted solution, I think it's one of the better ones. I think there's some good news with this website, and there's some bad news. I think one of the fundamentals they've got right, folks, is that they've got some decent photography of the product. You'd be amazed at the amount of clients over the years that wanted a good website, but they wouldn't get any decent photography, and it's e-commerce, and you just shake your head, and you just wondered what planet are they on? So I think the photography is decent, and I think the home page has some good points to it. I think when you go into the other pages, I think the story gets a bit more iffy, basically. I totally agree with John Locke. The blog section needs to be massively built out. It's going to be one of the key SEO drivers to some extent. Yeah. And it just also, when you go to the catalogue, I totally agree with you, John. But I don't think that's anything to do with Shopify. I think they use an internal scripting language called Liquify, and it's not that difficult. And their internal training, it might have improved because it's over a year and a half before I did my last Shopify site, and their training materials around their internal scripting language wasn't fantastic, but there were some third-party write-ups. It's not that hard to do that. They need to get that sorted because you're right, John. It doesn't look great. I think one of the major problems is you need to build up your email list with e-commerce. And
does Shopify offer a pop-up solution?
Yeah, they offer integration. They're third party. Some of them are plugins that are free from Shopify. Other third party plugins, and you have to pay extra. That will integrate with the major email platforms like MailChimp, all the ones, Campaign Monitor. But they've got to get that sorted out. You've got to be collecting people's email addresses on on an e-commerce site, then there's no calls for action for that, or no real mechanism to get that. So there's on the front page, put your email address and subscribe. Yeah, I can see where they're coming from, but I think they need something better. And I totally agree with John Locke. The About Us page is a bit pathetic. It needs to be built out, and the Contact Us page needs to be separate. So I think they've done some good stuff. They've got the photography. I like the product. I think it's a nice niche area. I think it just needs a lot more thought on the internal pages, not only in design terms, but in contact terms. And I think if they spent more time and a bit more money, they could have a real nice niche product.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think, John?
Oh, well, the niche bit is definitely there. The question I was thinking about here a bit was how to drive traffic to the site. I was clicking down on the bottom for the Instagram, and I think it's Instagram. Oh, Pinterest. The Pinterest doesn't take me to a Pinterest account.
Right.
But, you should also have this set up for a Facebook for driving traffic to the site, because the people that are going to buy this product are going to be in those areas. And definitely use the blog for driving it.
Well, I think you're totally right there, John. I've known, I've listened to a few successful niche email marketers, and especially in the fashion area or the design area. And Instagram has been a great online social media platform if you're in that sector. It's not something that I use a lot, but I know that there's quite a few design niche e-commerce based companies that have used it to really drive substantial numbers to their sites.
Oh yeah, well those are great ways to drive the traffic to the site, but everything else on it, it's just a good basic niche market site, and it functions well, as most of the sites I trip across that are on Shopify, they seem to function well.
Yeah, it just could be so much stronger. I think they could do they've got it's not a bad start, but it needs a lot more hours, and it could be a lot stronger. What do you reckon, John Locke?
Well, thinking about this, so what I'm noticing with this art style is it's very distinct, like very like lots of lines. It's a very distinct like art style. And like they said, you need pillows for when you break up, you cry in your pillow, or when you're feeling lonely or whatever, your pillow's your comfort. But that doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to like come to buy this pillow. What they're really buying the pillow for is because they have appreciation for like this style of art or these particular things. So if I were the artist creating this pillow, what I would do is I would maybe like even make like multi-part like blog posts about like the creation of each of these pillows. Like, why did you choose like old New York to be this piece? Why did you choose tulips? Why did you choose Space Kid? Then after you tell like that, you know, that story, like what it means to you personally, why you chose like these things to make the pillow out of, show or tell the story or show people like how you created the art. Then show people like how you transferred that onto the pillow. I would definitely, and make each of these stages, like take photos of like the whole process, put that on Instagram, put that on Pinterest, because that's going to be of interest to people who are into art. And those are the people who are most likely going to buy this pillow. So that's just a thought.
Yeah, I think that's great. I totally agree with that. So I'm blabbed out. It's time for me to go, folks. I'm bloody blabbed out, mate.
A Trump pillow, absolutely.
Trump and Hillary pillow.
Something that kick across the room.
Hey, you get your opponents and kick them. I don't know. There's really weird laws because when you run for office, you're kind of like open. You have less freedom. It's hard to explain on on freedom of speech.
It's that public figure thing.
Yeah, you can do things. You can make that.
You can do things to public figures you can't do to anyone else.
Thanks everybody for coming.
I think we're wrap up now. But before we go, how can people get hold of you, John?
They can reach me on my website at johnoverall.com.
Right, and you're the king of the plugins, aren't you?
Yeah.
And the other thing too, before we go, is everyone knows tonight WP Tonic will be up tonight late. It'll be the roundtable will go up tonight, the show, but this show on podcasting will also go up on timelines tonight, just the first 25 minutes.
So how can people get hold of you, John Locke?
Oh, they can find me at my website, which is lockdowndesign.com, silent E after the lock. Or they can follow me on Twitter, lockdown_.
I'm not normally so formal with John Locke, but we had to go to, because we couldn't say two Johns, could we, folks?
Yeah.
John, you should always drop on Blab. Always drop your links into your down below, because it records them and people can find them too. They get into the sites and they can click them right now and get there. I guess I should do the same thing.
Oh, cool.
So timelines and WP Tonic tonight will be up.
Well, I'll do the post this afternoon, Bill. Thanks.
You haven't done the post yet? I have to. You know what's a pain in the ass?
No, I haven't. Pardon?
It's a pain in the ass to download the YouTube and then put it into a podcast. John, you've done podcasts. Have you ever done we do the roundtable, which brings you were on the roundtable. Actually, John,
I was on the roundtable the other day, Bill.
Roundtable. So we bring it in and we shoot it back up. I don't do a lot of editing on that one. But have you ever done a roundtable and done it into a podcast?
No, I can't say that I have. That's the first roundtable I've ever been on.
Really?
Oh, you did a great job.
You'll like
I'm going now, folks, because I'm blabbed out.
All right.
We're all blabbed.
Have a good one, Jonathan. Take care.
Hey, just a reminder, too, is tomorrow Jonathan will be on at 6 o'clock. Meet the Voter, meetthevoter.com. And we'll probably go over those other pages. But Meet the Voter actually has had 2,700 people come through it.
I'll have to go pay attention to that one.
I mean, if you look, I'm looking at traffic and building the backside business and catching names and stuff like that. Is Jonathan still up there?
What?
Jonathan ditched.
I'm working on the WP Tonic squeeze page, folks. There he is. Looks good. I saw him the other day I saw him on one of your other a picture of him, the hair and everything.
Yeah,
looks good.
He's my oldest.
So,
hi.
Hi.
Jonathan is truly gone. Hi. I'm working on that WP Tonic squeeze page. Maybe I'll have it up tonight.
There you go.
John Locke doesn't know. I've got WPTonic.com.
What don't I know?
I have WPTonic.com.
Oh,
Jonathan doesn't know it.
Oh,
you bought WP Tonic versus WP Tonic.
I really got it. Yet last night, late it came in.
How long
said, yes,
was it not available before?
Yeah, somebody had been sitting on it for a long time, and they let it expire finally.
And then I had to wait out until they could buy it back. They could still have the right to buy it back for a period of time. And I held it.
Yeah, it goes in limbo. Yeah,
Jonathan doesn't know this, so I'm going to make a squeeze page.
You actually got it now, then, do you, Bill?
I'm going to make a squeeze page and start grabbing email addresses. I'll split them, and then direct them to the different sites. Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see what the search. Here's a question as we finish up. Search on WP Tonic. WP-Tonic searches pretty well now because we've done a lot of posts and stuff like that. What will happen to WPTonic.com? I just made a normal WordPress site and then put a squeeze page on it. Put opt-in monster, put a welcome page, welcome gate.
How many backlinks do you think you already have built to WP-Tonic?
A lot. There's a lot on there because every time we do a show.
Like I would almost take like a WP Tonic if it was me. I would just take the WP Tonic and like forward that to WP-Tonic.
We'll eventually run play with it for a while. I'm gonna have some fun.
So would I. I would park WP Tonic on top of WP-Tonic and make it so that no matter which domain people come through, they end up there.
Yeah.
Because you want to grab the traffic that WP is like. That's how we discovered it. Was when I was on your show, I typed in WP Tonic without thinking. Yeah. I didn't put the dash, and that's when we discovered it was available.
I do that all the time.
I would be really careful not to like destroy like any backlinks that you have because that will.
No.
Yeah.
How would you destroy a backlink?
What I'm saying is like you want to if WP-Tonic is the one that's got all the backlinks already built to it.
Yeah.
So if you ever switch it over to WP Tonic, like no dash,
No, you keep it dash. You keep it
you
dash.
have to read it.
Don't
I
switch.
understand that.
Yeah.
No, what you do is you don't switch. What you do is that you've got the domain and you're going to use it, you just put it on top of WP dash Tonic. And so if, say, I arrived on the website using WP Tonic without the dash, and I clicked any other link on the site, the WordPress will automatically flip me to the WP dash Tonic.
Exactly.
Right.
So you don't lose anything, but you still gain the traffic of those that don't use the hyphen.
Sure.
Yeah, I see.
Exactly.
I think I see. I was going to try to build a squeeze landing page, and then
if you're going to build a landing page, just build yourself a landing page and do that. There's actually a plugin I was going to mention earlier that allows you to park domains on top of a single page.
What is that domain?
Hang on a sec. Where's that plugin here?
Yeah, I've got the plugin master here. Hey, we had a question. I wish we would have answered it. Someone, it was a good question. Said, "Do plugins slow down your websites?" And I said, "Well, some do and some don't. Some help your websites."
Yeah.
That's
Hey, what's that optimizer plugin you like for images?
EWWW Optimize.
EWW Optimize. Let me write that down here in notes.
Where is this?
Notice I
plugin
remember to put the title back on the top. Optimize. Now, what does that do? I optimize all my graphics before I put them up.
Yeah.
So do I use it?
Most developers do. Okay, I can't find the plugin right now, but there's a plugin that will allow you to park a domain. But the simplest thing you'll want to do is if you're going to create a squeeze page this way, just create a squeeze page, point the domain, and create the one squeeze page using WP Tonic.
Okay. I might talk about it later. Hey, we're going to try to do this every Saturday. We'll probably do more. Jonathan will probably have more of a formal show the first 30 minutes because this one is a backup for WP Tonic tonight. Because we have the round table. But I'm going to try to design this a little bit. And I'm actually trying to get them away from using the round table format and figure out a way we can cycle people in like I do on Meet the Voter. Because I've had some amazing numbers on Meet the Voter.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
had some pretty decent numbers here. I've had 54 people come through here today.
I had 660 live one night and 2,700 reviews.
That's pretty good.
I've had 600 a few times. I've had 1,200. And then on the YouTube, it's starting to really build because I put all my shows together. It's starting to really help the podcast. 2,700 is a lot, but look at real fast before we go. Just look at Meet the Voter and scroll down through it. Meetvoter.com. By the way, that's built on SiteGround pretty fast. I've got Bluehost, SiteGround, and then DigitalOcean. I really like SiteGround for what you get for the money.
Yeah, SiteGround's not bad.
So go down through that. I'm going to add the web pages now. We're going to talk about marketing, but see down below how it's set up, the tentative lineup.
Yep.
I like to set up this show sort of like that, where people sort of take over at different places. The first part will be Jonathan and me, of course, doing WP Tonic with a guest, but then the backside of Blab, if you can get more people involved and then keep it on YouTube, it works pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts to keep building up. Because everyone's starting to push in their people, it really starts building up numbers. And then that goes back and links back to your site and creates numbers too.
Yep.
So it does work. It's like having a bunch of podcasts all in a 3-hour block, just constantly going. And I actually discovered this and it does work. Now, I didn't market this. I sent an email out to, all the WP Tonic people during this. I didn't see anybody else come up. John, you're really good about coming up.
Well, yeah, I'm a little more flexible than most people.
But I would like Saturday mornings to have a 3-hour block and then make different people in charge of each hour and let them sort of decide what they want to do. And then everyone can share the YouTube if they wanted to, But I think, and figure out how to link it back to your site. To me, the most important thing now is conversion and building the lists and the numbers.
Yeah.
And most people don't want to do that. That's the hard work.
Yeah, well, I've got my list up to almost 500, so I'm working through it little by little.
Jonathan's got 3,000. I don't know how old they are, though. My list is not there. I've got 600 in one list, and I've got 1,400 in another.
Nice.
So
pretty good.
But
now you got to start working them. You got the numbers. Now start working them.
Well, I'm trying to target it into politicians too. So I'm going to try to send out a postcard too and start. I think that's why I like those politician lists. I mean, I've been in politics. I know this stuff sort of inside and out. Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Come back any side.
Right.
Oh, wait a second. Is it there? Slow down. Here's that one question here. She's gone though. There's that question.
Just plugins.
Slow down WordPress. Yep.
It depends.
Yeah, some of them speed them up.
Yeah, Mimi, and well, in case
She's gone.
she's back, she's gone. They do and they don't. It's like I said, I've got websites that run as many as 80 plugins and are still lightning fast, and I've loaded up as many as 5 plugins and nearly crashed it. So
I'll send Mimi a note and say we discussed it, and I hit it. Yeah, but you have 80 plugins on one WordPress site. No, that's scary. God, that's insane.
yeah, that's not even my highest number for a site. I think my highest, I peaked at 140 on one website. One site.
John, what do you run on your websites?
What's that?
John Block.
John Locke.
Like I think my own website, I think I'm running like 14, but you know, for my client list, it depends. Like the smallest is like 3, and the most is, I think current is maybe like 26. So
yeah.
And one last question for John, on on the PowerPress, the Simple Live Press.
Yep.
Simple Live Press. I'm still testing that. If you were me, would you ever use that on a primary site? Like
I've already got it on a primary site.
You think I could? How would I use? Would you recommend using that on timelines?
I would, and because what you can do with it, what I'm doing with it on the WP plugins, is every show that I'm appearing on that I'm appearing as a host. When the show finishes wrapping up, it's showing up in my Blab listing, and then the Simple Live Press is pulling it right over to my website, and then I'm popping in there. It's like if you go look at my site, I pulled in the show you and I did the other night, and it's already up on my site because it was already there. I just made a couple of notations and made it live.
That's why I watched your other show too. I think I thought it was on YouTube. I watched. I can't remember. I watched.
Yeah, the one I did the interview with Hanny.
Yeah, Hanny.
Because I interviewed him in Blab, it pulled in automatically. So I just made some notes and made it live. I'm still going to make it into a podcast to go out into my iTunes feed, because the Blab doesn't go into my iTunes feed.
Right. But, we know that. Thank goodness.
But the other stuff, but my podcast will. Yeah. So it's got some really nice advantages, and it's going to be very useful over time. The more I use Blab, because I intend to use it more and more in the coming months. I'm actually scheduling it in, and I'm starting a new one with my Fit You website. Me and my marketing person who's managing the site, every Wednesday morning, we're going to do a Blab on fitness. And we're going to talk about fitness stuff, be it running, yoga, or whatever. And that's starting this next Wednesday.
There's 3 things you should do if you want to drive traffic. Is one on health, one on relationships, and then the other one's on money making.
Yep.
None of those have WordPress on them.
Nope. But and that's the Fit You website is a project I started a few months ago, and it's starting to approach the time where it should start paying for itself soon.
That's how you make money. What is it? What's the address? Fit You?
The fityou.ca.
Fit YOU or just you?
YOU.
U.ca. Did you build a site?
Yep, I built this.
That's an interesting looking site. That doesn't look like anything else you built to me.
Nope. It's completely different from every other project I've done. It's a WordPress multi-use site, and it's a place where people can pop in and get themselves, not Fit You, the Fit You.
Oh, the Fit You? I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm going to remove the one you popped in there.
Is that yours?
Yeah, the Fit You.
Is that not Fit You? The other one's not yours though, right?
No, the one that's there now, the Fit You, the one I just put up for it. I removed the link you just dropped in.
So you'll figure out how to SEO the crap out of that, right?
I'm working through it, man. There's a lot to do.
The Fit You, that's the same site.
There you go. The Fit You.
I can refresh it. The Fit You. It's better to. Is that the right site?
Yeah.
Slow. Mine's not popping up.
Yeah, I've got some speed issues with it right now.
Yeah. You got your own server though too.
I got my own server, but this site here has had some speed issues that I haven't finished solving.
Yeah. By the way, Jonathan didn't mention it, but this month we're going to go all into graphics on the next 4 WP Tonics, including then finishing up with the round table. It's about graphics. I think he might have found a speaker for this month, but if you know anything on anybody graphics, want to show them this way, it's all going to be about graphics. It's not going to be so much about the code, the mechanics, but it's going to be about how do you work with your graphics designer? Who are good graphics designers? What do you tell them? What's the relationship? And how many WordPress guys are really good at graphics?
Not a whole lot.
It's an art.
I'm okay. I do a lot of my own graphics. I'm okay, but I'm not a graphic designer.
Right. What do you use to create your graphics?
What do I use for creating graphics? I use Illustrator, Photoshop,
Yeah. Those are hard. I got the same platforms. Those are tough.
Firefox or Fireworks, Illustrator, Photoshop, and Fireworks.
Fireworks. Yeah. How about you, John?
Just mostly just Illustrator and Photoshop, but I mean, I don't do a lot of graphic design aside
Your
from
client.
Just, yeah,
you contract out for your clients.
I contract out with some agencies back east, and they're usually really strong in graphic design, so I don't need to be. I mean, they give me like leeway to, do input, on like interactions and transitions and stuff in the browser. But generally that is like a percentage of my revenue is just like contracting out. So
Canva, we had a mention on Canva. Canva is a good basic quick site if you want to make some things for your social media, Canva. But it's hard to get the higher. It's Canva. The one thing to me is the DPI is too low half the time.
Yeah, come here.
So we've got
hey,
another
Bill
one.
and John, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out.
I'll say goodbye at the same time.
Right, take care, John. It was good meeting you.
It was really good to meet you.
Tomorrow night, go to meetthevoter.com and we'll see you on Timelines and on WP Tonic and on your sites.
Cool.
Take care. See you
Thank
guys.
you,
Wait, let me pause. Let me say goodbye. Wave and I'll pause and we'll go off.
Okay.
Wave. Everybody wave. Wave, John. Yeah.
Everybody wave. Take care.